Shabbat rest in his kingdom to come. Only the meek are left. Each week the Shabbat returns on time. The day never changes. This is Yahuah's design. Written in the TORAH as a command, a covenant mark between him and man. Yahuah is the Shabbat, our perfect rest. In his presence we find shalom and are refreshed. There remains a Shabbat keeping still. Follow his word, his way, his will. This day points to the eternal Shabbat rest. In his kingdom to come, only the meek are left. Yahusha kept the Shabbat while on earth, showing its meaning, its true worth. He is the Adon of the Shabbat day. We follow him and rest in his way. Each Shabbat reminds us to pause and reflect on our Hallelujah. He knows what is best. Still follow his word, his way, his will. This day points to the eternal Shabbat rest. In his kingdom to come, only the meek are left. In the beginning to ages ahead, the Shabbat remains just as Yahuah has set aside forever for all to see. There remains a Shabbat keeping perpetually.
Yes. Shalom, shalom. We're back again. Shabbat shalom to all the Mishpachah. I think it's probably just us in here now that we have started another session. I am Ak Jimmy, also known as Brother Jimmy, and we are ambassadors of Yah. We come together on Shabbats, and as I was saying earlier in our last segment, we are going to start having our Shabbats on MON Day, and it will be at the same time. It will be on YouTube. It will not be on TikTok. And as far as the TikTok day that I'll be on TikTok, that's probably going to shift to SUN Day, which would be this day, starting probably next week. I haven't made that announcement yet. I'm not quite sure, but I believe that's what I'm going to be doing. It'll be SUN Day and then MON Day back to back. But if something is to change, I might go back to SAT Day and then come on MON Day. Shabbat is going to be Shabbat. But as far as reaching out to the Extions, that can really be any day. So I might still pick SUN Day because that's going to be their day of worship regardless. So I think that's probably what we'll be doing. So anyhow, let me see. Let's see if we have any questions. Was there any questions on what we just studied earlier, or any questions for that matter? Okay, Shabbat Shalom, Cody Chanel. Can't wait to see you with all the Mishpachah here in a couple weeks. Should we be observing the void day in a special way? No, not at all. The void day of Cody is just exactly that. It's just another day. But it's a day that is not counted on Yahuah's calendar. So that day is a day that you can do whatever you want, of course, not transgress. I personally, I was going to use it to start marking the day for the spring equinox. But as I was saying in our last segment, I have to work tomorrow. I got to get ready for an inspection for a property that I'm working on. And so I got to get that knocked out tomorrow, so then I can go to the location that I want to, which I'll be doing before sunrise on TUS Day, to start marking out the shadow of the straight line shadow, marking our way up to Pagan Day, March 20th, which is supposed to be the spring equinox. Okay. What is the best translation that includes the original names? Let me see if that's the... Let's make sure I didn't miss anything here. Pete Rodriguez, Shalom, Aki Pete. We will be putting it out on Friday, FRI Day. Okay. We'll be putting it out there. So what I need you guys to do is to go to and again, as far as I know, I got to get with Aki Chris, and I got to get on him, or I should say, he's been getting on me because I haven't officially went through the website yet. But I will be giving out the calendar and everything else on FRI Day. In fact, we're probably going to have a special day on FRI Day, anyways, because I'm going to be doing the marking of the straight line shadow. I will give you the website and everything on that day, and you will see both in English and Spanish, two different calendars, but they're the same calendar, but just two different translations, of course. Same calendar, one in Spanish and one in English, and it will be available, Yahuah willing, this FRI Day, okay? And let's see. Yeah, Aki Emmanuel, I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, Sunday and Monday. Yeah. Let me see here. Rayeth, you say, what is the best translation that includes the original names? Do you recommend the Apocrypha? And what are the best BIBLEs to get all of them with the Book of Enoch and Jubilees? I would go with Yah Scriptures. That's this big old puppy right here. Let me grab it for you. It looks like this. You can go to yahscriptures.com. I don't know if they're still on back order. I think we really put a lot on them since we've been promoting Yah Scriptures. So this is the one with the Apocrypha. It comes with the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, Jasher. I mean, you name it, it's in here. I mean, look how thick this book is. Now, this is the book that I normally read out of, right? So you can see the difference. It's a huge difference, okay? I mean, this thing is thicker than the Strong's Concordance, for real. But it's beautiful. It's a and I have to thank my Cody Stella for my Stella who's stellar, who got that for me. Beautiful book, beautiful. Okay, you said, sorry, Aki Jimmy, can you repeat what you said? I missed what you said. I don't know what it is that you missed, so I don't know what I said. I don't know what I said. If you're talking about when I'm going to be coming on, it would be starting after the spring equinox. It'll be every Sunday and Monday is what I'm. So Monday is going to be the Shabbat. MON day is going to be the Shabbat. So I will be on every MON day. I will be making sure that that is my day off. And then SUN day is the day that I like to kind of tailor make my live for our Christian brothers and sisters that are out there who are wanting to come into the truth. Okay, let's see here. Mini Butterfly. Shabbat Shalom to you, Cody. Am I supposed to have a staff at home or what? Or wear sandals at home so the Pesach and Matzah are the same time we have to celebrate it? Please explain for me. Okay, so let's clarify this. So yes, you're going to want to, again, if you want to observe the Pesach without just the wine and the bread, you can celebrate it. And the way we like to celebrate it is according to what we read in Exodus chapter 12, what we had just read earlier about how you are to gird your loins and to have sandals on your feet, and you should have a staff in your hand, and you are to eat the Passover with haste, okay? Quickly, not enjoying it, but with quickness, like you're getting ready to leave, because that's exactly why the children of Yasharal ate it so quickly, because as soon as they got done with it, they were getting ready to start trekking out into the wilderness. Okay, so that's the way we're to keep that. Now, as far as Pesach and Matzah, they're going to blend in together. So let me show you the calendar here. It's going to be pretty much the same, just a different date, different year, I should say. But let me bring this up here. Okay, so this is the first month, so it's going to look practically almost identical to this, what you're going to see when you open up on the website. This is what you're going to see here is our calendar. Okay, now We know that the Passover is supposed to be done on the 14th day of the first month. Okay, this is the first month, Kadash 1, and here is the 14th day, Pesach. Okay, so you're going to do this at evening. Now I'm going to be on, for those of you on the East Coast, I'm going to be on a little later. I'm going to try to, like I did last year, to do it well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, because we're gonna have service going on in Phoenix, and so there's going to be a lot of us. But let me just make it simple. We're going to be coming on at sunset. Okay, when the sun goes down, Mountain Time, which is going to be same as the Pacific time, or Arizona time. Let me put it that way, which is going to be same as the Pacific time, because Arizona doesn't spring forward; they stay on their own time zone. And so those of us on the West Coast, where I live, we sprung forward, so now this puts us into the same time zone as Arizona. So, anyways, it's probably going to be around 6 o'clock that we're going to go on, or 7, depending on the time that the sun is getting ready to go down. And I will be live on YouTube. It will be on YouTube, and we will be going through the Pesach at that time. Now that would be here on the 14th. Okay. And let me blow that up here. All right, so now when the 14th is done, the very next day, we're going to have our set-apart gathering. In the evening, we're going to eat the unleavened bread together, okay? So here we're going to partake of the wine and the unleavened bread, all right? And we're going to celebrate by eating the lamb, girding our loins, holding a staff in our hand, having sandals on our feet or tennis shoes, and we're going to eat it in haste. That will be this evening. Then here, so let me back up. Before we even do Pesach, no, let me just keep it straight so I don't confuse anybody. And so then after that, the very next evening, we're going to be back on live, and we are going to be partaking of the first day of matzah, okay, unleavened bread. We'll do that together, okay? And all you do is you're going to eat the unleavened bread, but we'll do it together customarily. And we'll do this for those of us who are going to be together for the next couple of days. Now, even for those of you who are at home, make sure that you have enough, even if it's just you break a little piece off, and to eat of it for the next 6 days after this day here, the 15th. Because remember, we're going to eat it all the way to the 21st day. Now, I'm going to be back home in Vegas from Phoenix before this day, but when this day comes, the high Sabbath of the last day of unleavened bread, I will be going live again. Okay, I will be going live, and we're going to partake together. Okay, so that's how that's going to happen. Nothing difficult, pretty simple, straightforward. Okay, now I know some of you are asking questions. I won't be able to get to all of it, but let me see here. Oh, Aki Steve is with us too. Ortiz, great to see you here. My young Ak, Yahuah Baraku, Shabbat Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom, Aki Steven as well. Let me see here. Joanna, I have a question about Numbers 9:7 for an unbeliever and a marriage couple who wants relations on Pesach. What do we do about that? Okay, so Joanna, I went over Numbers chapter 9. Were you not there earlier when I was talking about that, or you just didn't hear what I was sharing? Let me share it with you. This is why I was saying what I said earlier about people having conversations, and you guys are having cross conversations while I'm sharing something, because I literally went over this earlier, Joanna. Nothing personal to you, but this is what I'm saying, that if you didn't understand, no worries. Let me share it with you. Okay. All right. So Numbers chapter 9. And let me pop this side up here. Okay. And I know I'm way behind on what you guys are asking me right now, so I won't be able to get to everybody's questions. All right. So we're told here in Numbers chapter 9 that those who have had intimacy with their partner the day before Pesach, they are not allowed to take Pesach. okay, because you're unclean until the next evening, okay? So if that is the case and you are a believer, be it native born or a stranger who has been grafted in, you have to wait till the second month on the 14th day to partake of the Passover, okay? And then you have your 7 days of unleavened bread. But that doesn't offset all the rest of your all the rest of the appointed times after that. Because there's people that think, well, since I missed the Passover and I have to take the Passover in the second month, then they think that when it goes to all the other feast days, they offset it by a month later from the next one, which you're not supposed to do. That's nowhere in scripture, but people are going to make laws unto themselves. So anyhow, they would have to eat it the second day or the second month. If they are not a believer, they are not to take it whatsoever. Okay, they are not to take it, Joanna, no matter who they are, even if they live under your roof. If they are not a believer, they are not to partake of the Pesach. It will cause harm than it does righteousness for them. It would cause bad things could happen to them because they're partaking of something they don't understand. Okay, so do not allow someone who doesn't believe to partake of the Pesach. This is not for non-believers. In fact, all of the feast days are not for a non-believer. This is why when we read this passage here, where it says in Exodus, now I remember, so I don't forget, chapter 12, verse 43, when you line it up with Numbers chapter 9, it makes clear sense why this was stated. And so it says here, and Yahuah said to Moshe and to Aaron, this is the law of the Pesach. No son of a stranger is to eat of it. But any servant of a man that has been bought for silver, when you have circumcised him, now this again, even though it's talking about the physical circumcision, we know the circumcision, spiritually speaking, is speaking of the heart. Okay, so once you have bought a servant, and when you have circumcised them, when they become a believer, then let him eat of it. A sojourner and a hired servant does not eat of it. Notice that. The difference here is you have a servant as opposed to a sojourner or a hired servant. This servant is not hired. He is a person who belongs with you. Okay? So this person has been circumcised, they can eat of it. But a sojourner or a hired servant does not eat of it. Why? Because again, spiritually speaking, it's letting us know by a physical understanding that they have no right to the Pesach. They have nothing to do with Yahuah. They are not believers. It is eaten in one house. You are not to take any flesh outside the house, nor are you to break any bone of it. This is talking about the Pesach specifically. All the congregation of Yahshua are to perform it. And then notice here, and when the stranger sojourns with you, okay, this is the same thing as the sojourner, okay. When a stranger sojourns with you and shall perform the Pesach to Yahuah, let all his males be circumcised. They must be believers. And then let him come near and perform it, and he shall be as a native one of the land. But let no uncircumcised, notice that, let no uncircumcised eat of it. Okay? That again is somebody who was not a believer. Their heart has not been circumcised. There is only one law for the native born and for the stranger who sojourns among you. So now when we go to Numbers chapter 9, we see the same information almost to the T. So it says here in verse 14 at chapter 9, and when a stranger sojourns among you, then he shall perform the Pesach to Yahuah. He shall do according to the law of the Pesach, according to the right rulings. You have one law, both for the stranger and the native of the land. So again, the only ones who cannot partake are those who are unclean and those who are not believers. The ones who are unclean and they are believers, they have to wait to the next Pesach, which is the second month. On the 14th day, they can take it. Okay? All right, let me catch up with you guys because I'm way behind. Okay, let's see here. Let me go back up. How about those who believe but have not been immersed in the name of Yahusha? Miranda, great question. You do not have to be immersed to partake of the Pesach. However, if you're able to, I would say get immersed. Now, again, like for you, Cody Brook, I know you're in Hawaii. There's got to be someone there that you can either share the message with, somebody that maybe we can find on one of the social media platforms, because there's got to be someone that lives there that knows. But you need to make a disciple in your midst. That's what you need to do, Brooke. You need to make a disciple in your midst. You need to immerse that person, be it a male or female, and then let that person turn around and immerse you. Okay? You're very welcome, Joanna. Yahuah 21:20. If I've missed by Christian church, do I have to get immersed? I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but I think you're saying if I think I know what you're saying, Yahuah 21:20. You're saying that you got immersed in the name of JC, I believe is what you're asking me, and you're asking, so should I have to get immersed again? If that is what you're asking me, yes, you should get immersed again under the true name, Yahusha. Marie, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, I got to do this too here. Yes. I am in Maryland and don't know anyone who can immerse me. Vanessa Davis, we have believers in Maryland. I don't know if they're here right now, but if you truly want to get immersed when it gets warmer, I'm sure that we can get that taken care of for you. We have, like I say, we have a few believers out there in the Baltimore area. And if you're not too far from Baltimore, I mean, Maryland isn't that big, so you guys are probably like, depending on where you live, you can get there pretty quickly. So just email me, and we can get you taken care of, Cody Vanessa. Cody Stella. Okay, Jimmy, will we have extra walking sticks in Arizona? I'm going to bring the ones that I have here, so I have some extra walking sticks, Cody, but I'm sure we're not probably going to have one for everyone. But what we can do is after we eat, you know how we do it hastily, we can pass the baton on to somebody else so they can have it in their hand, just as a celebration thing, for them to eat their portion of the Pesach in haste, and then we can pass the baton to the next person and so on, They're going to see a crowd of people walking with walking sticks at the airport. That's funny. Brooke, Loretta Cox is in the Big Island. I'll fly. Oh, there you go. Yes. Yes, Yahuah 21:20. You need to be re-immersed, because again, if you've been immersed in the Christian circles, you have been immersed probably under the formula, I now immerse you, or they say, I now baptize you in the name of the Father and in the name of the Son and in the HOLY Spirit, and then they push you into the water and bring you back up. That is not the formula. The formula is in the name Yahusha. Okay? Palal Yah makes a way where there seems to be no way. Yes. Okay, can you do me a favor? Is there any assembly here? Oh, wow, you're in San Antonio? You don't have to look any further than Aki Emmanuel and Aki Bob. They're both in San Antonio, TX. You need to get a hold of them. And those are strong Akis right there. Yes, Vanessa, we'll hook that up for you. So, again, even a Cody Chanel, I'm sure she's willing, if she's able to, you guys can meet. So there's all kinds of ways for some of you who need to get immersed. Does anyone live here close to Kenosha, Wisconsin? I am Jamaican Diva. Shalom, my Cody. Shabbat Shalom. Is anyone close to Alcachua County, Florida? BT Perform, I don't know where that is. But I'm sure we can find somebody. Mr. Kane, well, that's not too far from, well, I mean, it's a little ways from Wisconsin, but not too far, right? Maybe you guys can hook something up and meet up like, I don't know, Chicago and take care of it at Lake Michigan. Aliyahu, Tuda Ta Rabba Kijimi for sharing and teaching Yahuwah's words. All praises to Abba Yahuwah. All praises to Yahuwah. Aki Jade, now before I fully came into the truth, Abba Yahuwah directed me to do this to my doorpost, and at the time I did not understand why he directed me to do this. Exodus 12:24-27. Exodus 12:24. Oh, you're talking about putting the so you actually put blood on the lintel of your doors? Is that what you're saying, Cody? And if you did, what kind of blood did you use? Let me read this. Not that I'm because I'm probably thinking of something else. And Yahuwah, let's see, you said 24-27. Okay. And you shall guard this word of the law for you and your sons forever. And it shall be when you come to the land that Yahuwah gives you, as he promised, that you shall guard this service. And it shall be when your children say to you, what does this service mean to you? Then you shall say, it is the Pesach, slaughtering of Yahuwah, who passed over the houses of the children of Yasharal in Mitzrayim, when he smote the Mizrites and delivered our household, and the people bowed their heads and did obeisance. Okay, yes. There's nothing wrong with that. I thought you was talking about the blood on the doorpost. That's why I was like, what? What did you do? Kathleen Yahoo, I am allergic to all red meat, mammalian, and cannot eat the Passover meat. Alpha gal syndrome. No worries. You don't have to eat meat. You don't have to eat the lamb. That is just a celebratory thing. But you should do the, if you can't do the wine, do the juice and do the keeping of breaking of bread and eating the unleavened. Let's see. Shabbat Shalom, Cody Camry. Let's see, Simone Rodriguez. It's okay, we doing it for Yahuwah. That's right. I was just saying that the walking sticks on the plane. Where and what city are you gathering? Aliyah Yahoo, we are gathering together in Litchfield, suburb of Phoenix, in a couple weeks. Can't wait to participate in your immersion participation to the esteemed and of Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. That's right, Aki Emmanuel. After sharing something, my grandma taught me all this when I was a kid, and me and her were participating Passover and all that, and I remember that like a week ago. Oh, that's beautiful. Save your money and get your walking stick from a tree branch if you can, right? What about baby dedication? So we don't do Catholic traditions, okay? There is nowhere in scripture that it talks about immersing your baby, sprinkling or christening or any of that stuff, okay? In fact, children are not even supposed to partake of the Pesach, okay? This is something that is done for those who have the full capacity of their mind to know what they are doing and that what it represents. A child is not able to examine themselves because they are under the age of accountability. They do not drink the wine. They don't even drink the symbolic grape juice, and they don't take of the bread of the body. This is for able-bodied people, and I don't mean able-bodied as people who are without any, defects or anything like that. I'm talking about able-bodied as adults. Okay, those who have the mindset to know what they are doing. They're taking, what's the word I'm looking for? Of their own volition, they are knowing what they're doing and they're examining themselves. All right. Okay. I knew the scriptural history, but did not understand at the time why he had me do this, and I wasn't until I came into the truth and rereading this passage that I overstock it. Why? Oh, I fell in love with the world. Let's see. I'm in New Zealand in Southern Hemisphere. Do we still do this here or do we wait until springtime? Great question, Nico. You are to do it at our time, okay? Because everything is to be done according to the location of Jerusalem, okay? Yahushalom. So even though you're down under, as you guys would say, or as we would say here, above the equator, and even though you're going into the opposite seasons, the calendar is based off of Jerusalem. Okay. So when the spring equinox happens here, you guys are having your fall equinox down there. Okay. But it's the same time. And so you need to do it at that time. So even though it's called fall equinox for you, it's the spring equinox here for us. So you are to do this. The first day of the year for you will be your fall equinox, which is in coinciding to our spring equinox. And so from there, you follow everything according to those who are north of the latitude of equinox or the equinox line. I hope that makes sense. Jamaican Diva, if you need a calendar bead, just get a hold of me. Hit me up via email and I'll pass it on to my Asha. Let's see. Is there anyone else on? Oh, and by the way, Cody, Tanya, Shabbat Shalom, and I want to let you know that my tat is feeling very well. By the way, our Cody Tanya, for those that need facials or tat removals, putting her out there. Of course, not today. We don't do any money changes, but I just want you to know that our Cody does do facials and tattoo removals. So I just went and got mine done the other day, my tattoo removal, but I still have more procedures that need to be done. But I'm going to tell you, that girl had me over here. I was moving my toes, trying to deal with that pain. Woo! With no numbing cream. That thing was serious. Lauren, can you buy walking sticks in Arizona? I'm sure you can, but we'll have some with us. We'll have some. Let's see. Tech Gersek. Salvation is not in Islam, my friend. You're going to want to look into this before it's too late for yourself. The reason why you're a byproduct of Islam is because you were probably raised in Islam by your parents, and that whole line, unless you come out of Islam, your whole line is cut off. I know that sounds blunt. I just want you to know you are cut off unless you come into this truth. The one Millie, what day is Pesach? Pesach is going to be April 2nd in the evening. April 2nd in the evening. You can eat everything except for what you're not supposed to eat, Demelli. Okay? But one of the things that you're going to want to eat is you're going to want to eat unleavened bread, okay? And the juice or red wine, okay? We'll be doing that together. But like I said, you're going to want to get juice, like grape juice. And if you don't like wine, you just get you some grape juice. Welch's. Kedem is another one, Kedem. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so there we go. So we have Jamaican Diva. We have the Greystone, who is in Wasu, Wisconsin, and wishes to be immersed, so you could immerse one another. Demeli, like I said, you're going to want to get unleavened bread, okay, unless you make your own. Matzah crackers, you can get that from any corporate grocery store. You'll find it. And then you can eat whatever else you want. But the two things that you should have on Pesach is wine and unleavened bread, and we'll do that together. Joanna, Aki Jimmy, someone asked earlier about spring equinox and their month falls on fall, a different content. Yeah, I already answered that. I might just be now coming into, I'm over here trying to catch up with all you guys. Jimmy, I was laughing because you said that they are all going to see us walking with sticks to the airport. I said it's for Yahuah, not for popularity. That's right. Mini Butterfly, what about 17-year? Are you talking about a 17-year-old? Well, if that 17-year-old, if the 17-year-old knows what he or she is doing, they can partake, okay? But if they don't know, then they cannot partake. Or if they're not a believer, they cannot partake. Just because mommy and daddy wants them to take it, you can't do that. Same thing with baptism, or what we call immersion. Children, there is no such thing as children baptism or children immersion. The same thing that goes for taking of the wine and, you know, taking of the Passover. It's the same thing with immersion. These are people that have the right mindset and know what's going on, and they know that they have voluntarily made this decision to follow Yahuah. This isn't something that we take lightly. This isn't some kind of, you know, oh, we're just going to do it just to do it. No, this is not one of those things. We are not doing Christianity here. Okay. The age of accountability, Chanel, is 20. 20. The circuit teachers who dedicate children back to Yah. Okay. What kind of food? The one Melly, I don't know. Are you not hearing me? You're asking me the same question over and over again. I'm sorry if you're not understanding, but I've been sharing with you, and I don't know if you're just not getting it. I apologize if you're not getting it. Let's see here. The one Melly, I'm going to tell you again. The one Melly. You say, can please someone tell me what day is Pesach? I've already shared with you, April 2nd. And what you eat on April 2nd is going to be unleavened bread, and you should have either grape juice or red wine, okay? That was old messages? Okay. So you did get it. You did get it. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Yes, I'm just seeing it now. Yes. So apologies, Salakia. I just kept seeing you asking that question. I'm over here saying it. I'm like, are you not getting it? So that's why I said it. Okay. My apologies, Salakia. Yes, love the beautiful face. Yes. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Wow, we're already in 40 minutes, but I tell you, that first hour is just going through. Palaf for Luann, please. She has 6 weeks or less to live due to cancer. Her eyes are not open to the truth as well. That's a hard one there, Heather. You know the word says that we're not to pray for people that don't believe, but nonetheless, we would still pull off for them on your behalf. Heavenly Father, we pull off for Heather Perry's, I don't know if it's a friend or family member, Luann, and that she has been diagnosed to only live for 6 weeks or less, Abba. But we know that everything is possible with you. We ask that you would make it possible for Luann to see the truth, that she may live and not die. And we see this and know this, O Abba, because of your promises, that those of us who believe in your word and live by your word and trust in you, that we shall have everlasting life. This we bring before you in the mighty name of your Bane, Yahushua HaMashiach. Hallelujah, Yahuah. Amat. Heather, please let us know about Luann, and hopefully you're able to talk to her and tell her she has nothing to lose but to call upon the name of Yahuah, and she shall be saved. It's that simple. Even if she can't speak, and if she can hear you, and if she's able to clench your hand, tell her to squeeze your hand so she hears you, and that's her way of saying yes. If you heard what I said, you know, you can say something like that to her. If you heard what I said and you did that, if you asked him to save you by saying, "Save me, O Yahuah." You said that anyone who calls upon your name shall be saved. And if you tell her to give you an affirmative by gripping your hand, please try to do so. Mr. Kane, is this going to be the last Passover? I do not know. Only Yahuah knows. But I'm going to tell you, it might be the last one that we might be able to keep as a group because of the things that are happening on this earth. Abba Father 33333. If Israel isn't the true Israel, where on the map is true Israel? Abba Father, do not listen to these people that have you going around looking like you're looking for an Easter egg on an Easter hunt, looking for true Israel. True Israel is where Jerusalem is. That is Israel. Okay. Now, the people that are living there are not the true Israelites, but the land that they are in, which is why they're passing off to trying to be Israelis, okay, or Israelites, but they call themselves Israelis. They're in the land. Just like it says in Luke chapter 21:24, that the Gentiles will be trotting down Jerusalem, okay? They are the ones in control of Jerusalem right now, are the Gentiles, and these Gentiles are the Ashkenazis. But Israel is not in South Africa. Israel is not here in the United States. The land of Israel is exactly where it's at, and it has to do with more than just that little plot of land that they have there that they call the state of Israel. The promised land is going to be stretched all the way to the mountains of Persia, all the way to the Mediterranean Sea, and all of what they know, or what we call the Arabia Peninsula, which is mostly dominated by Saudi Arabia today. Praise Yahuah. Can I cover my tattoo instead of removing it? We have been commanded not to even have tattoos, so to cover one with another one is breaking the law. So you might as well just keep what you have. I just want to get rid of mine because it's like, why have it? So I'd rather just get rid of it, but not to cover it up with another one. Phase my name. Mitzrayim is Egypt, yes. So Mitzrayim is plural, which means Egyptians. Mitzray is singular, an Egyptian, okay? Myron Addison. I was reading Waquira 11:27. Please tell me that doesn't mean I can't have a dog. Well, you know, I got 3 of them. But let's see what you're talking about here. Let's go to Waquira. Leviticus 11:27. Let's see here. Now, 11:27, which is our dietary laws. So you're taking something that's in the dietary laws and you're making it into not having a pet, but it's talking about what you can and cannot eat. So here in verse 27, it says, and whatever goes on his paws, among all the creatures that go on all fours, those are unclean to you. Anyone who touches their carcass, which is their dead bodies, is unclean until evening. Okay. So again, it has nothing to do with you owning a pet. It's you not able to eat it. Okay. We're not supposed to be eating dogs like my Korean side. They're not all Koreans eat dogs, by the way, but there are Koreans that do eat dogs, and they're not the only people who do. But yeah, that's an unclean animal. It'd be no different than somebody eating a pork. Okay, eating pig is just as detestable as eating a dog. You shouldn't do neither. Yes, so that passage that it talks about, Janine, can you please address not having leaven until the first fruit, please? Yes, so last year was the first time I noticed this, right? So let's go to Leviticus 23. I didn't know this until last year. I was like, what? I thought I wasn't just supposed to not eat any bread for those 7 days, or nothing leavened for 7 days. But so here it says, so we know about the 7 days of unleavened bread here, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? And so if we continue to read, and it says, and Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, this is Leviticus chapter 23, verse 9. When Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Yasharal, and you shall say to them, when you come into the land that I give you, and shall reap its harvest, then you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of the harvest to the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before Yahuwah for your acceptance. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest waves it. And on that day, when you have waved the sheaf, you shall prepare a male lamb, a year old, a perfect one, an ascending offering to Yahuwah. Now, we know all the offerings and slaughterings. We don't do any of that anymore. And its grain offering, 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour with oil, an offering made by fire to Yahuwah, a sweet fragrance, and its drink offering, 1/4 of a hin of wine. And you do not eat bread or roasted grain or fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your Yahuwah Elohim, a law forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings and wherever you live. So again, verse 14, and you do not eat bread or roasted grain or fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your Yahuwah Elohim. So this is when we can eat after we've done this. Okay, we can eat bread again. Okay. But until then, you don't eat no regular bread. All right. If you're gonna eat anything, you're gonna eat unleavened bread. Okay, but no leavened bread, okay, until the first fruit harvest is done. Now, there are people who will literally wait all the way to Shabbat to eat leavened bread, because that's what we're told here about Shabbat, also known as Pentecost. All right, here it literally tells us that we are to make bread. Bring from your, and this is verse 17, same chapter, bring from your dwellings for a wave offering 2 loaves of bread, 2/10 of a ephah of fine flour. They are baked with leaven. Okay, first fruits to Yahuwah. All right. Now, some of us, and this is the way I look at it, I personally will not be eating any leavened bread until the waving of the sheaf offering here, the 2 loaves. Okay, the wave offering that is told to us here, because this is where it says, and besides the bread, you shall bring 7 lambs, and we don't do all of this here. Okay, but we do the ascending offering to Yahuwah, that is the fruit of our lips, by praying to him, palaling to him, giving him praise and honor from our lips. But again, when we go back here to verse 14, and you do not eat bread or roasted grain or fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your Yahuwah Elohim, a law forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. So again, here we see And his grain offering 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour with oil, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance, and his drink offering 1/4 of a hin of wine. So again, here, this has to do, from my understanding of reading this passage, that you have to first take the bread that is roasted, okay, or baked. And again, this is another wave offering. It's part of the first fruit harvest, because this is when you would get your wheat and you would grind it up and you would make your bread. But to be safe, I personally would wait until the 3rd month on the 16th day, is it? Let me look at it here. Or is it the 17th day? I always be forgetting. It is the 15th day, okay? What we know as Shabuat or Pentecost. That would be the day that I would eat the unleavened bread. I mean, the regular bread. Yes, Tammy Veteran. It's a little difficult to understand, but again, if you just give yourself over to what we're talking about here, again, when we read this passage here, we know about the unleavened bread. So we're supposed to eat unleavened bread for 7 days, right? And you shall bring an offering made of fire to Yahuah for 7 days. Yeah. So this is where we eat the unleavened bread for 7 days. Like it says here, 7 days you eat unleavened bread. Well, as soon as this is over, then we go to the next celebration, which is the Feast of First Fruits. Okay. When you come into the land that I give you and shall reap its harvest. So now they're harvesting the plants. Okay. Specifically here, it would be the wheat or barley. And then you shall bring the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before Yahuah for your acceptance. And the morrow, or the day after the Sabbath, the priest waves it. Okay, it's the day after the Sabbath. It'll be the first day of the week, not a SUN day. Okay, it's the Sabbath and then the day after the Sabbath. Again, we're trying to get off the pagan days of the calendar of the days of the week. All right. So, and then it goes on and says, and that day when you have waved the sheaf, you shall prepare a male lamb, a year old, a perfect one, and an ascending offering to Yahuah. And then verse 13 says, and his grain offering 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil. So right here, you're going to be baking bread, an offering made by fire to Yahuah, a sweet fragrance, and his drink offering 1/4 of a hin of wine. And this is why verse 14 says, and you do not eat bread or roasted grain or fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your Yahuah Elohim, a law forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. So now, what is this offering that we're to bring to him? Well, who was our first fruits? Our Messiah was the first fruit. So this has already been bought and paid for. He is our bread, okay? He is the bread of life. So he was the one that we must not come empty-handed with. He is our offering. So that same day, you have brought an offering to Yahuah Elohim. That offering is our Messiah. This is a law forever throughout our generations. So this is why I was saying, if you want to keep clear of making sure that you don't break this command, okay, of eating bread when you're not supposed to, we're talking about leavened bread, not unleavened bread, but leavened bread, then you can wait until the 3rd month on the 15th day when you are to bake for yourselves 2 loaves of bread, 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour. They are baked with leaven. Notice that they are baked with leaven, not unleavened. They are baked with leaven, with yeast. First fruits to Yahuah, okay? This is when you can eat this bread that is leavened. So that's why verse 14 says that you do not eat bread or roasted grain or fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your Yahuah Elohim. It's a law forever throughout your generations in your dwelling. So if you do it here, right, you make this bread mixed with fine flour, mixed with oil, and again, that oil would be olive oil, an offering made by fire to Yahuah. All right. And this would be, again, an offering that is the fruit of our lips before Abba Yahuah. This is a sweet fragrance before our Abba Yahuah. And its drink offering, 1/4 of a hin of wine. So you see here again, we still have wine, but we don't have an altar, right? But we are the body. We are the temple. So we partake we celebrate this. Okay. And so, again, not to make this confusing, just know that from the day of unleavened bread to this day, and so let me show you on the calendar how many days that is to the morrow. If you have a calendar bead, like we have here, you don't have to wait too many days. Okay. This is the 7 days. So on this calendar bead, for those of you who don't know what you're looking at, this is our calendar bead that we have here. All right. This is the first month. We're talking about the first month. All right. And we just read earlier about the 14th day being Passover right here. And then we're told about the 7 days, which includes a weekly Shabbat, 7 days of eating unleavened bread. Okay. And then here, this is the day after the Sabbath, the morrow after the Sabbath. This is first fruits. Okay. This is where you can start eating bread again. Okay. Now, if you don't want to eat bread, that's not leaven, to not break this law because you feel like you don't understand it, then I would wait till here. This right here is the Feast of Shabuat, also known as the Feast of Weeks, or in the Greek language, Pentecost. Okay, so this here is where we wave the 2 loaves of bread before Abba Yahuah. This right here, we were all in tears when we did this last year in Phoenix. But this is the day when you can start eating bread again right here, just to get rid of the confusion. But again, for those of you who don't trust that and you feel like you might be doing something wrong, you can wait until Shabuat. Okay? Just had me some dark chocolate the other day with raspberry. Tasty. All right. Let me see. Let me go back and see if I missed any questions here. I know I did. Mula, you said, where's this year's calendar? When you say this year, are you talking about this year that's ending because we only got a couple more days, or are you talking about the new one? If you're talking about the new one, it'll be available on FRI Day this week. As a Muslim woman, I love you people. Well, Bryden, we love you too. We love you too. But to put the word Muslim in front of you, that doesn't make us want to be Muslim, if that's what you're inclining to share with us. There's no place for Islam in the kingdom. What you would want to do, Bryden, is get a hold of this truth so that you will not be cut off from the land of the living. Let's see. Aki Jimmy, my sister has a question pertaining to her immersion. Yes, what's the question? Cree, you said, when are we going to get info on airport pickup, please? Well, the airport pickup is actually going to be on us, Cree. All you got to do is get on the plane and get there and be in contact with us once you land, and we're going to be around the airport to pick you up. Okay? We're going to be stationing at the airport pretty much that whole day, the 1st of April, because we're going to be picking up people all day. There's going to be 3 of us in 3 different vans doing that. Oh yes, so 2026 Mula, yes, it'll be available coming up on FRI Day. I will make an announcement because I will be on that day. Jamie Jolch, yes, just ask me your questions. You don't have to say you have a question. Just put it out there, and hopefully I'll see it so I can read it. Yes, let me see here. What did Aki Al say here? Mentioned there's no kids being immersed during Pesach. Yeah, I already did, Aki. You didn't hear me? Yeah, there's not going to be any children getting immersed. No children, unless they're able to let us know that they truly want to follow Yahuah, not because their parents want them to do it. We're not doing any of that. We don't do that. Manase, I have no idea about the Lebanese flatbread. That's beyond my understanding. If it has no yeast in it, no leaven in it, I would say, yeah, I don't see why it'd be wrong. No worries, Akia. Let's see here. You're getting a lot of pause. I see somebody else says, yes, it's freezing on my end too. I wonder why. Let me see here. I am on my Wi-Fi network. It must be YouTube messing around with us again, as they always like to do. Mini Butterfly, you say you are 17 and I want to participate for Pesach, but I don't know how to do it, but I believe in Yahuah. Okay, Mini Butterfly. So again, you will be the exception to the rule. Okay. You are able to get immersed. You are able to partake of the Pesach because you know by a conscious decision that you are wanting to participate. Okay. Unlike a child or a teenager whose parents know that they're not living for Yahuah. All right, they're not following any of the feast days. They're not doing the dietary laws. A kid's just being a kid, and that's what kids do. I'm not calling you a child. I'm just saying that that's what most of us who are under the age of accountability, that's the way we lived our life. And some of us, even as young adults, we didn't care about Yahuah. We weren't doing any of that stuff. And then we turn around and we want to get baptized or we want to partake of the Pesach. You can't do that. That is to keep them from harm. And so that they are staying clear of having any curses upon them for doing something that they were not ready to do themselves because their mom or their dad or their grandparents wanted them to do it. We don't do that in this belief. Yes, I don't think I've seen it, Lupe. What's the question that Lupe has? And is it under Lupe? Cody Lupe, are you here under Lupe? I don't see no Lupe on my screen. I see Aki Stevens saying that your sister has a question, but I haven't seen anything from our Cody Lupe. Danielle, I will definitely let you know when it's available, and you'll be able to get it yourself, Aki. Because if I was to do it for everyone, I mean, I just wouldn't have time to do it. I already got enough on my plate. But I will let you guys know when it's available, and you'll be able to go to the website, and you'll be able to download it for yourself. The gray stone, I'm the same way. That's why I'm over here removing what I got. Tammy, you said thank you. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. I'll have to sit with this a little longer. Just so you can remind me, Tammy, what are you saying? What is it that you have to sit with a little longer? What is my favorite book, Brooke, that you say of the canon? If I had to choose one, I would probably say the Book of Revelation. My Ak, I don't think I have Ak Emmanuel. I don't think so. Have Yahuah 2120 send me his info, or you can yeah, he can send it to me and then I'll send it to you, Aki. I do remember Abba Father 333. You did ask me, where does it say that we're not to palal for those who are not believers? I'm gonna have to look it up. I remember reading it. I don't remember off the top of my head, like I know a lot of other passages. But I will find that. Somebody might know it already or where to find it. But it does say that that we are not to pray for those that are not believers. Ed, you're very welcome. Jamie Jolch. Do I know anyone around Big Rapids, Michigan for immersion? I don't, but I do know that a Cody Jen is near Detroit. Okay, yes, Aki Danielle. Just hit me up about the calendar beats. Yes, okay. No worries. Yes, Mary, there's a lot of great information in the book of Kanok. You said to go back. Yeah, okay, so is Lupe, what's Lupe's name on here? Because I haven't seen a Lupe anywhere here. No Lupe. What is a Cody Lupe under? Oh no, there it is. I see you, Lupe Queen. I see you now, Lupe. What is it that you were asking? I see yes. Let me see. Okay, here it is. Aki Jimmy for the fourth time. I apologize. Salakia, Cody Lupe. Sometimes some of these messages don't come through. I used to fellowship with Remnant House and was immersed in the name of Yahuah and in the name of Yahusha and in the name of the Ruach HaKodesh and dunked each time. And dunked each time? So you mean to say that I now immerse you in the name of Yahuwah, and then they kukoosh, and then you came up, and right before you catch your breath, they take you back down. Now I immerse you in the name of Yahusha, kukoosh, and as you come up and you take another quick breath, they take you back down again. Is that what you're saying, Cody? Let's see. Now we know that the Mighty One hears not sinners, but if any man be worshiper of the Mighty One, he does, and his will, him he hears. Yes, Lachey Brown. That's another great one. Yep. Nazareth, you be saying some of the funniest things. Trinity waterboarding. She said, yes, I can't. Lupe, okay. Look, I mean, I would personally probably get re-immersed because it should be done properly. Again, Acts chapter 2, verse 38, we're told exactly how it was supposed to be done. Right? Let's go here. Let's go to the book of Acts. I didn't mean to make that sound funny, but I mean that's the way the imagery in my head was like, what? You came up and then they take you right back down, and then you came up and they took you back down again. Okay, so oh, thank you, Mr. Kane. Let me see, was it Abba Yahuwah 3333? Do you see where everybody's pulling up Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 16 about how we are not to pray for this people, neither lift up a cry nor pray for them, neither make intercession to them? I will not hear you. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so when it comes to people who are non-believers and people say, you know, you got to just pray for them. I mean, we do palal for them, but at the same time, Abba Yahuwah, if these people's heart are not for him, you're pretty much talking in the air, because Abba Yahuwah is not going to hear them. He's not going to hear you for what that person and how they live their life or how they're not repentant. So, I mean, it's just not, it's not, I know it sounds harsh. Christianity teaches, oh, we have to pray for them. I mean, that sounds beautiful. It sounds loving, but it's just not scriptural. Okay, so Acts chapter 2:38, it says this about how we are to be immersed. And Kappa said to them, repent, that is to tashub, that is to turn back to the ancient path, and let each one of you be immersed in the name of Yahusha, the Messiah, for the forgiveness of transgressions, and you shall receive the gift of the Ruach HaKodesh. So again, there is no immerse. I now immerse you in the name of the Father. I now immerse you in the name of the Son. I now immerse you in the Ruach HaKodesh. That is no different than what the Christians did with Matthew chapter 28, verse 19, where it says, therefore, go and make taught ones of all the nations, immersing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the set apart Spirit. For some reason, people just keep thinking that this is the formula of how you're supposed to be immersed. But that is not the way you're supposed to be immersed. Okay, Peter was here, Kappa was here listening to this instruction of what the Messiah was saying. And notice he didn't say you are to immerse them in the names with the S at the end of name. Then you would have an argument to say, see, it says names of the Father and of the Son and of the set apart Spirit. Then you can say, I now immerse you in the name of Yahuah. And then I immerse you in the name of Yahusha. And then say, I immerse you in the Ruach HaKodesh. But it doesn't say that. It says in the name. So what's the name of the Father? The Son says, I come in my Father's name. So that means the Son has the Father in his name, Yahuah Usha, or as we say, contraction, Yahusha. And then he says that the set apart Spirit, or the Ruach HaKodesh, shall come in my name. Why? Because the Ruach is the Father. And then the Father is the Son. Not a Trinity, one being. Not three persons in one so-called God head. It's one being manifesting himself in however he wants. It's one being doing all of this. So, the one name that we are to be immersed in, and we see it at least 3 times by name in the book of Acts alone, it says right here, again, Kappa, Peter, he understood what was being said to him in Matthew chapter 28, verse 19, when the great so-called commission was given to the disciples. He said, repent, let each one of you be immersed in the name, not names, name of Yahusha. He knew that the Messiah came in the name of the Father. He knew that the Messiah himself is Yahusha. He knew that the Ruach would be coming in the name of Yahusha. So again, in the name of Yahusha. And then you see again, in Acts chapter 10, when the first, that is recorded, the first Gentile was converted, known as Cornelius. Him and his whole household, they were immersed. Is anyone able to forbid them? This is Acts chapter 10, verse 47. Is anyone able to forbid them of water, that they should not be immersed, who have received the Ruach HaKodesh, even as also as we, speaking of the Yahudim, the Jews? And he commanded, Kappa commanded them to be immersed in the name, singular, of Yahusha, the Mashiach. Then they asked him to remain for a few days. Now, Shaul, who they renamed Paul, he did the same thing. Let's go to Acts chapter 19. Acts chapter 19, and Shaul said, verse 4, Yohanan, that is John, indeed immersed with the immersion of repentance, saying to the people that they should believe in the one who is coming after him, that is the Mashiach, Yahusha. And when they heard this, they were immersed into the name of the Master, Yahusha. You see that? Okay, and it says, and when Shaul had laid hands on them, this is what we're going to start doing for those of us who are immersing people. All the elders are going to start laying hands on them. And the Ruach HaKodesh came upon them, and they were speaking in languages and prophesying. So I gave you 3 different passages, Cody Lupe, of how we are to be immersed, and it's to be done in the name of Yahusha. That is the name that has been given. Let's see what else we got. Who else we got? What else we need? And I just want to remind all of you, let our words be seasoned with salt. Let us not speak our own words today. Let us speak the words that Yahuah would have us to speak. Just be mindful that today is Shabbat. You're very welcome, Akodi Lupe, and I'm glad that I'm able to see your comments. Aki Helder, great to see you here. You said, why is the void day after the light? Okay, the light beams. I know you're talking about the beads, the light beads. Okay, so if I understand what you're saying, let me show you how this works, okay? So today is the last Shabbat of the year, right? So today being the last Shabbat of the year, and I'm going to be doing a lot of conversation about the calendar here in the next few days because we're going to be citing the straight line shadow. Okay, so this calendar that's before you, you see how I have the void day here. In fact, let me blow it up so you can see it a little better for those of you who are looking. All right, so this is the 12th month, this strand here, okay, of the beads. This is the 12th bead or the 12th strand for the 12th month. All right, today is right here, hence why I have the tie down just above it. This is the last Sabbath of the year, this gold bead, okay? Now, the void day, according to fragment number 4Q324D, I know that sounds kind of convoluted and confusing, but that's the fragment number that they gave this Dead Sea Scroll parchment that was fragmented when they found it. And the scroll itself, which was a papyrus scroll, when they unrolled it, it broke in pieces like a jigsaw puzzle. And so they had to try to put it together. Some of the writings on there, the ink had faded so much that some of the words had dissipated off of the papyrus scroll, so they couldn't figure it out. But what they did now with the age of, the help of technology, excuse me, they were able to piece it back together somewhat. And one of the things that it says is that after the last Sabbath, the 28th day of the 12th month, there's a day that is to be vacated. That vacated day is what we call the void day. Okay. This cannot go anywhere else but after the last Sabbath of the year. Why? Because if you put this anywhere between the Sabbaths, after a first day or second day or third day or anything like that, you're breaking up the count of 7 days in a week. So this has to come right after the very last Sabbath. So you're not breaking up the 7-day weekly cycle. You're pausing after the last Sabbath of the year. You have a void day, okay? Almost like a pause. It's a reset. Then the very next day is the first day of the week when Yahuah said, let there be light. Then you have the second day when he separated the waters from the waters. And then you have the third day when he planted the trees and the plants. And then you have the first day of the year, which is the fourth day of the week, when he created the sun, moon, and the stars. This is how he lined up what we know as the spring equinox. The spring equinox is the first day of the year. It's the fourth day of the week on the 7-day weekly cycle. 3 days later, you have your first Shabbat of the year. So if I understand your question correctly, why does the void day come after the last Sabbath? This is the reason. It can't go anywhere else. All right. You're very welcome, Helder. Let's see. Our Zoom can be partial or full 24 hours. If it relates to Yom Kippur, it's evening to evening. Our Shabbat, however, is sunrise to sunrise, no fasting on Shabbat. That's right, Cody Chanel. That is correcto. Let's see here. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. Lisa Hagen, you may have the older calendar beads that we have where we had, you would see 5 of whatever color. Let me see. Is this the one like that? Yes. So let me show you this one here. This was our first generation, our first version of the calendar beads. Hence the, you'll see here. Okay, this was based on, the way you see this one here was based off of the way that it was given to me by a guy by the name of Ed. And he was the guy that I got the idea of doing these calendar beads. But anyways, so after the last Sabbath on this one, it'll be yellow. Okay. And then he had 5 beads after the yellow on this one. Is that what you're talking about? The same thing, Lisa, on your calendar bead? You have 5 of the same color after the last Sabbath? Yes, the candy corn calendar bead. Devour random, we'll get to that part. Okay, yes. So Lisa, so that was our first gen of our first generation or our first version of the calendar beads. I would like to send you an updated one. This works the same. The reason why there's 5 here is because 2 of these have to do with 2 void days. Okay, so the first void day is like the one we're going to have tomorrow. The second one happens every 4 years. That's the leap year. And then you have your first day, second day, third day, and then you have your first day of the year. So the way we're doing it now, instead of having 5 of those, instead of having 5 of these days here, or having the same, same color of beads, we changed this one to a different color depending on what color that my wife put together for you. It's going to be totally different than all the other colors that you have on your calendar bead. That'll be the void day. Okay. And then this tie down acts as the 5th bead, which would be like this one here. Okay. That would be this one, but we're only using that every 4 years. So there's no need for us to have another bead here. So you can use this to represent that day, okay, as the leap year. And then you start your first, second, third day count again. But to keep it simple, this is why we made one void day here, okay, after the last Sabbath, void day, and then we start our count. First day, second day, third day. If it's the next one to be pagan year 2028, we will be using this tie down to count, which would be this bead here, and then we do the first day, second day, third day. I hope that makes sense, Lisa. But I would like to send you an updated version. Yes, for those of you who want a up to date version, please get with me on ambassadorsofyah@gmail. And not today. We don't do any commerce today. I'm just explaining today. But you can get with me tomorrow. Send me your email or send me an email, and we'll get it taken care of for you. Okay. Yes, Camry, I think you probably do have one of the older ones. If you don't see a different color right after the last Sabbath and then 3 beads afterwards, you probably have the older one. Jonah Shalar, I see you're being disruptive. If you're not coming in here with true questions, please don't make comments and questions that you're making. Okay? We're not all Jews, and now you're saying how many millimeters does a calendar display? I mean, unless it's just coming off wrong, I hope you can elaborate and clarify your question, because you're Okay, so you say, why Shabbat? Why Saturday? Again, I don't know if you're just being disruptive because you're not really trying to learn, or you just want to just make ripples in the water. Shabbat Shalom, Ivy. You really like this? Yeah, I like it too. This is my own personal one here. Do you send calendar beats to Europe too? Maria, depending on where you live in Europe, yes. Andy Jepson, yes. What Aki Lester was saying, the void day beat is when Yahuah says the earth was void in Genesis. Yes, yes, yes. You can see that in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. I am Jamaican Diva. You want to know about the burning of an animal as pleasing aroma to him. Yes, so it's the smell, just like, when you come home and your mama done cooked up something in the kitchen, you're like, man, that smell, what's cooking in the kitchen? Well, that what's cooking in the kitchen is something beautiful that has been put together with, with your heart. There was some love put into it, right? So it's the same thing, just like when Abel, when he brought his offering with the lamb, he did it upright. And that smell went up to Abba Yahuah from that altar. And to him, it was well pleasing. It was a sweet smelling of aroma of the burning of that flesh. Yeah. And so when you just put anything on there, he doesn't like that. And just like how we like the way food smell, he loves the way it smells as well. I mean, that's where we get it from. Shabbat Shalom, Maki Robin. You like yours too? Yes, yes. No, 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 not at all, Lisa Hagen. No, you keep that. It's always nice to have more than one anyways. I found your site on the link. Ruben, you said, is this solar, lunar, star, or all three calendars? So the one that you're looking in front of you, this is based upon the sun. It's a solar calendar. Now the moon has its reasons why Yahuwah created that. Yeah, we can't just say that the moon has no significance. It does. It has a lot to do with the seasons as far as when to plant and when to harvest. The stars have to also do with telling of what the constellations is telling us a story. Some people say that the Mazaroth, on the Hebrew word, for the constellations, is that it's telling us a story within the stars. It's giving us an imagery. So like when you read in Revelation chapter 12, verse 1, it talks about this great sign that was seen in the heavens, and it talks about how this woman was clothed with the sun, and she had 12 garland of stars over her head, and she was standing on the moon, okay, or the moon was under her feet. This is talking about the constellations. So the stars also is giving us a witness to the story of what's happening. Just like when the wise magi's of the east saw the star of the Messiah, the king, the regula, or regala, I can't even say, or regulus, some of them pronounce the Latin phrase, which is the king star. Okay, they said, we have seen the star. We have seen his star. Where is the king? Where is this little one that's supposed to be born? Again, that has to do with the stars. The stars is telling us a story of things that is to come. Many of us don't know about a lot of these stars because we're not astronomers. We don't study the stars like that. You don't need to know the study of the stars to know the calendar. The only thing that you really need to know about the calendar when it comes to numbering your days is the sun. Not the moon, not the stars, the sun. The moon will help you if you're a farmer. It'll help you know when to plant, when to harvest. The stars to understand astronomy is for those who are looking into prophecy, those who have the gift of reading those stars. I don't have that gift. I haven't really studied into it. But you can read a lot about it in the book of Enoch. You can read about it even in the 66 canons, 66 books in the canon. But again, you don't need to know that information to keep time. The only thing that you need to know about keeping time is the sun, the sun. La Pros, I don't even know if I'm saying your name right. I apologize. La Proske. Do you have a book or a dictionary for all the biblical meanings from Christianity to Hebrew? Christianity to Hebrew, the word Christianity is throwing me off. If you're talking about Hebrew words that you want to know in English, we have a very generalized PDF that has some of the words that we do use, but it's not by any means an exhaustive dictionary of every Hebrew word into English. But as far as saying from Christianity to Hebrew, there's no such thing that I know of. When I was going to Exton Church, the pastor would talk about that. Okay. Carmen. Carmen Gonzalez, are you asking me? You are trying to say that the voided day is because we follow only 364 days in scripture, 1 year, while 365 years are the pagan calendar. Not so much that the 365 is a pagan calendar, because they do count 365 like we do in the Gregorian calendar, but Yahuah gave us that extra day is a separate day. It's a day of separation, so that every day when you come back around, those days are going to fall on the same circuit of days, right? Because if you just keep on counting 777777777 without a break, you're breaking up Yahuwah's count as it has to do with the sun, the sun. Okay, the sun has a 365 and a quarter day every year. But Yahuwah only wants us to follow 364 because it's perfectly divisible by 7. You know that our Father is all about numbers. This is why there's 7 days in a week, 7 trumpets, 7 seals, 7 vial bowls, 7 assemblies, okay, 7 eyes on the 7 horns on the lamb. There's a lot of 7s, all right? Multiplications of 7s, 7 times 7, the 49th day, the next day, the 50th day, Shabuat, right? So he's all about numbers. But that one extra day of the 365th cycle, I think it has not only to do with that he added that day, because he could have made it perfectly where it is just 364 and the very next day would be the first day of the year. It's to see who's going to follow his instructions. Are you going to be obedient, or are you going to buck because you say, no, here's an extra day. We need to count this day. This day has to be included. Because I know there's people that say this stuff. Okay. It has to, you have to get, how can you say that that's a void day? Nowhere in the scriptures does it say a void day. I know it doesn't say that in the scripture, but by inference, you'll find it. It's in there. It just doesn't say it like that. Like what we were talking about yesterday, when Aki Lester brought it up in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, talks about how, and the earth came to be void and formless. That void and formless is that day right before he says, let there be light, the first day of the week. That's that day out of time. But you see, before that day, there was time being kept in heaven. The angels were told in the book of Jubilees, chapter 2, they were keeping Shabbat before it was even revealed to Adam, before he was created. That's mind-blowing. To this very day, these angels still keep the 7th day Shabbat. Where do you think the commandments, I'm saying this to everyone, where do you think that the commandments came from? They were already written in the heavens. Yahuwah already knew what he was going to write down. These are his principles. And everyone And everything that he would make would have to line up with those principles. If they weren't, they were going to be shunned from his kingdom. Hence why Satan and the third that followed him were shunned from heaven. They were kicked out and they were put into this dark place that we know today that people call space, the outer realm of the earth's firmament. And we don't know how long they were sitting up inside this firmament until Yahuah said, let there be light. But some day before then, who knows how long, it could have been a year, it could have been 2 years, it could have been 200 years, it could have been 2,000 years, it could have been 2 million years. We don't know how long the third of the angels were sitting in darkness and the earth was destroyed for 2 million years, maybe, who knows? But when he first created the earth, because see, we're not on the original earth. This earth that we're on now has been recreated. That's what you're reading about in Genesis chapter 1. That is not the first creation. The very first creation, we're not even told about, other than that there was one before us. And we know about that one because we can read about it in Jeremiah chapter 4. We can read about it in Genesis chapter 1. It's telling us about something that preceded this creation. So when we see scientists that try to say, oh, well, the earth is 3.5 billion years old, they might be right. But that's not when Adam was created. That's not how far back our history goes. Our history goes back almost 6,000 years. But there was something before the 6,000 years on this earth. There's evidence of that, and it's even in scripture. We see it right there in Genesis chapter 1. You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Carmen. Yes. And it's a fascinating study. If you actually go back and you look, and this is why translations are very important, because if you read the King James Version, it makes it sound like when you read Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, in the beginning, Alua Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And then the second verse says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the deep, and the spirit was hovering over the waters. Okay. That second verse is not telling you the appropriate history in the King James Version. If you read it in some other translations like Yah Scriptures, Hallelujah Scriptures, and the Scriptures TS 2009, all three of them say it came to be formless. It came to be void. So that means that the earth had form and it wasn't void of life. Something cataclysmic, catastrophic happened. And so what you're witnessing, that you're reading there in the very first chapter of Genesis, is the first flood of the earth. That's why the earth was under the water. And on the second day, he called the water up out of, he called the earth up out of the water. Or is that the third day? It might have been the third day. And when he said that the earth was seen up out of the water, he called the dry land earth. The earth has always been. So this is why you notice at the very beginning, we're never told when the water was created. We were never told when the earth was created. Those two elements were already here. That's because it predates when he said, let there be light. Something was created before he said, let there be light. This darkness just didn't come out of nowhere. The darkness happened because of the fall of Satan and the third of the angels. Yahuah had to create a separation between him and these third of the angels. You're very welcome, Ruben. Mm-hmm. Yep, Layla is night, Cody Brook. I would go to the Christian church on that. Pastor was half truth because he told us about that. Jonah, are we from the Ethiopian Orthodox Assembly? No, we're not. And in fact, even the I can't even say that right. Ethiopian Orthodox community, those who believe in the Coptic understanding of their belief system, they also have been exposed to Western understanding. If my mind serves me right, the Ethiopian Assembly was created around the 300 AD, which would put it right around almost the same time as the Roman Church coming together, the Roman Assembly called the Holy Roman Empire with Constantine. They both have flaws in them. Even the translation that you see from the Ethiopian into the English, you'll see the corrupted name of Yahweh in the book. In fact, I have a copy of it right here. Reuben, Isaiah 66 doesn't, okay, so the translation in English says new moon, but in the Hebrew, it doesn't say new moon. It says new period or new month, okay, not new moon. The word for moon in Hebrew is Yerach, okay, and it says Kadash there and not Yerach. Now here with this Ethiopian Bible, let me show you. I'm not gonna, oops, nothing fell over here. Give me a second, all of you. Let's bring that back up. Okay, so let me show you here, just to show you some of the corruption from the translation. You see how they put here Yahweh, and they still have these pagan terminologies like God. And you see this word here, Holy. This is full of the same stuff that we see in the King James Version, the translation. Now, I don't read Ethiopian Coptic language. I don't know how it's presented in their book, but the way it has been translated into the English, this is a terrible translation. Jonah, you say, why do I have an Israeli flag? I have an Israeli flag. This is not an Israeli flag. You see that? Yeah, that's not an Israel flag. Do you see a Star of David on there? The Star of Ranfan, the 6-pointed star? Nope. Do you see 4 letters up there? You may not know the Paleo Hebrew, but that's the Father's name and a menorah. That is Yahuah, and you have the menorah underneath it. Now, the only thing that resembles the Israeli flag is the 2 blue ribbons of lines there. That's about it. Other than that, there's nothing else that is even equated to what you would call the Israeli flag. Okay. Okay, Jimmy. Again, Passover falls on Thursday, April the 2nd. Yes, April 2nd at evening. Yes, Aki. How do you know when to start the year, please? Okay, so Ruben, we know to start the year happens at what we know as the spring equinox. The spring equinox, according, and now nowhere in any of the apocryphas, because again, the word spring equinox, the way we use it today, is a modern concept, okay? But when you read the book of Enoch, chapter 72, it talks about, and let me take you there. Let me move this out the way. Let me bring my other book here. So in Enoch, chapter 72, and I'm going to have to take you also to Jubilees, but let's go to Enoch 72 first, okay? I don't like to try to confuse people. I like to get straight to the point when it comes to how to mark our days and all of that stuff. This is why I don't really talk about other than that the moon is wrong to follow, and why we don't follow the constellations of trying to figure out what star comes in at what time and all of this, because again, I want to keep it as simple as possible so that people are not confused. For those who want to be a little more advanced, they want to get into that study, by all means, there's nothing wrong with doing that, because there's a lot of beautiful information in the word. So here, starting at, this is chapter 72 of the book of Enoch, okay, the first book of Enoch. Let me make that clear. Of course, all the other books that are available, the second and the third book of Enoch doesn't have 72 chapters in it. They're much smaller. But here, starting at verse 4, it says, and first there goes out the luminary, the great luminary named the sun, or Shamash in Hebrew, and his circumference is like the circumference of the Shama, the heaven, and he is filled with the illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and so is guided that he comes to the appropriate portal or window or doorway, and shines in the face of the Shama. In this way, he rises in the first month. Notice that, rises in the first month in the great portal, that is the fourth of the 6 portals in the east. So this right here, when does this first month occur in the great portal known as the fourth? That happens at what we call the spring equinox. This is the very first day of the year. All right. And from here, start counting 30 days. So like it says here in verse 8, when the sun rises in the heaven, he comes out through that fourth portal, 30 mornings or 30 sunrises in succession, no breaks, okay? And then it goes on after that. That's the first month, this fourth portal. And then when it goes through the 5th portal, it's another 30 days. That's 60 days altogether. And then when it gets to the 6th portal, it's 31 days on account of its sign, as it says here. And it returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal and rises and sets in the 6th portal, 31 sunrises on account of its sign. What's the account of its sign? That's the changing of the season. That is what we know as the summer solstice. Okay, that's what we call it in our modern vernacular, or in our modern I can't even say it right, vernacular. Okay, that is the summer solstice. That's why I wrote that down there. Okay, and then so every season has 91 days. Every season has 91 days. There's 4 seasons. So 91 times 4 gives you exactly 364 days of the calendar count, just like we're told all throughout the book of Enoch and also Jubilees. Now I'm going to take you to Jubilees. Jubilees chapter 2, verse 9 says this, and on the 4th day he, that is Yahuah, created the sun, the moon, and the stars, and set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light on all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. Notice verse 9, Reuben. And Yahuah Elohim appointed the sun to be a great sign, not the moon, the sun to be a great sign. But notice what the sun is used for. It literally takes out all the confusion, all the discrepancies, all of what everybody's opinions are. It literally tells you what the sun is used for. It is a great sign on the earth for days, your weekdays, for Sabbath. When we're trying to find the Sabbath, the sun is connected to the Sabbath, and the Sabbath is connected to the sun. It is also for our months, not the moon. The moon does not dictate our months. There's people that are teaching that. Some people are saying the sun is for days and the moon is for months, and the stars are for years. That is, you won't find that anywhere in Scripture. They need to show us that. If you're going to make a claim like that, you need to show us that. Don't say that because it sounds great, okay? Because right here, the sun, we're told that the sun is for days, for Sabbath, for months, for feasts, for years, for Sabbath of years, which is 7-year periods, for Jubilees, which is 50-year periods, and for your 4 seasons of the years. This is why what we read in Jubilees, chapter 72, it talks about these signs. What are these signs? These are your solstices and your equinoxes. These are the signs of the seasons. Okay, and it even talks about that here in Jubilees chapter 6, that Noah, when he came out of the ark, he made a connection to these 4 times of the seasons. Here in chapter 6, verse 23 in Jubilees, he says, and on the first month of the first day of the first month, when it says new moon, it's talking about the first day. All right, the first day of the first month. And on the first day of the 4th month, and on the first day of the 7th month, and on the first day of the 10th month, these days of remembrance and the days of the seasons in the divisions of the year. Okay, so now let me show you this on our calendar bead. All right, here's a 364-day calendar bead. Up here you see on this particular calendar bead, you see 3 white beads up there. That is for the separation of the seasons. Okay, so we're going to divide that into 4. What you notice here, let me bring that in a little bit. What you notice here, this is the spring equinox, this white bead right here. This is the first day of the first month. That's what we was just reading right here, what it said. Let me bring it up so I don't have to keep moving up and down, zooming. Verse 23, and on the first day, I know it says new moon, but that means first day of the first month. That's right there. First day of the first month. That's the spring equinox. This is the beginning of the spring. And on the first day of the 4th month, so here's first month, second month, third month, 4th month, the first day of the 4th month, this is summer. This is the summer solstice. On the first day of the 7th month, this brings us into fall. This is the fall equinox, first day of the 7th month. And then it says, and on the first day of the 10th month, these are the days of the remembrance of the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. Here is the 10th month, the first day of the 10th month. 4 divisions of the year. 4 seasons of the year. This is how we know that our year starts on spring equinox. Okay? I hope that makes sense, Ruben. And again, just like many of us, you're not going to get this the first time. It is so much information because, again, just like we've been raised into the Gregorian calendar, you didn't learn the Gregorian calendar right off the bat when you went to elementary school. No, this was something that you lived and you learned as you continue to live, and it starts to make sense. So you start to know about leap years. You start to know why February has an extra day every 4 months or every 4 years. Well, it's the same thing with this. It's going to take you some time to reallocate yourself to this kind of understanding because this is the original calendar. And this will always be the original calendar. This will continue on for eternity. Why do we know this? Because the Creator says 3 times a year, every male is to come to me at my appointed time. What are those 3 times a year? We have the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay, that's the one. Then you have the Feast of Shabuat, this one here, all right, which is the Feast of Weeks. And then you have the Feast of Ingathering, or the Feast of what we call Tabernacles right here. So these 3 you're going to do for the rest of eternity. And to do that, we must still have this system going. This is why we know, according to the book of Jubilees, the angels in heaven have been doing this prior to Adam being created. All right. We're getting close to our evening Palal, our Arab Palal. Probably got about another 30 minutes or so. No, Jonah, we are not Zionists. We are against Zionism and everything that it stands for, including Christian Zionists. Is our New Year Day classed as a high day? Yes. Caesar's first day of the month as well. Yes, Rachel. Yes. It is a day of celebration. Just like how Satan has given the world his form of New Year's Eve party and celebration. Where do you think he got that? He perverted the calendar. And he's like, well, I'm going to get your creation to get off of your calendar, and I'm going to have them celebrate my new year when I say it's ready, when I say it's the first day of the year when we have to celebrate. And that's what the world is following, including Christianity. This is why we know Christianity has been brought to us by Satan. It is not a construct of the Messiah. It's a construct of the false Messiah. EDW, what is this one called? So what I just read this out of, and you can get any book or any scripture that has the apocrypha is usually going to have the book of Enoch in it and Jubilees. Oh, not this one. This is the one that I use, and I use this because it's simpler for me to be able to use it because the book is not that big. But if you're wanting to get one that you can study out of, I would say to get Yah scriptures. Ah, this big boy right here. All right. Leprosy, I'm not sure why I'm not getting alerts when you are on. I'm subscribed. Yes, Lepro, CK. I know I'm messing your name up. You need to just be on schedule. If you want to attend, just know that I come on at 1 p.m. West Coast time or Pacific Standard Time. 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay. I might be a couple minutes early. I'm usually a couple minutes late. I try to be on time, but that's the time that I'll be on. But if you're expecting to get an alarm from TikTok or from YouTube, they don't promote my channel because of the content. They've told me, and I don't care. It's the ones that truly want this information. They're going to seek it out. They're going to seek it out. Yahuah 21:20. Yes, there are 7 appointed times, and 8 if you include Shabbat. And you can find all 8 of them in chapter 23 of Leviticus. Yahuah 21:20. Is that the wine? What is the wine? Michael, I have a question because I have been in error. Can we eat things like PBJ sandwich on this day, prepping wise, or prepping a salad or something on this day, or is that an error? No, that's not. That's okay. It has to do with cooking, right? This is why we can't kindle a fire on Shabbat, because as it was in the days of old, fire, and for those of us who have gas stoves, you use that for cooking. And for us to stay away from cooking, all of that was supposed to be prepped the day before. Now your PB and J is something that, I mean, I guess you could, pre-make it and have it sitting in, on your cupboard or in your cupboard or in your refrigerator or whatever, and you just take it out and eat it. But to put it together, it's not, I don't see it as prepping, because when I think of prepping, I'm thinking of you're prepping something with seasoning and you have veggies and you're getting ready to cook it. That should have been done the day before. Yes, Isaac, age of accountability is 20, according to Numbers. Rachel, so we don't keep the high days like the Sabbath, right? So the high days in the Sabbath most of them are treated the same as the Sabbath, meaning that you don't work. It'll usually tell you in Leviticus 23, other than so Passover, you can work. Okay. Passover, you can work, even though it's an appointed time. It's not a high Shabbat. It's not a rest day. Okay. The first day and the last day of Shabuat, I mean, not Shabuat, Matzot, or the unleavened bread, those are high Sabbath. Those are to be treated like a Sabbath, other than you can cook on it. Okay. Where can I get this scriptures? Miss Garcia, go to YahScriptures as one word.com and go there and you'll be able to purchase Yah scriptures with the Apocrypha. I think they run just a little bit under $100. Oh, I get what you're saying now, Yahuah 21:20. Yes. The world is drunk off of the wine of Christianity, her doctrine. So Friday the 20th is going to be a high Sabbath. It's a New Year's Day. Yes, Rachel. Yes. It is to be celebrated, and I will be on that day. That is the day that we will be launching our website, and that'll be the day that we'll be giving out next year's calendar, free of charge PDF version on our website. Hallelujah. Yahuah. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. Yep. And I want to thank my Cody Nazareth for all the hard work she has done over the years, helping me launch this ministry that I didn't know was going to become a ministry. She has done some marvelous work over the 2 years, cataloging our videos, putting together our PDFs for others, and all of this before we even had an actual website. She took it upon herself to create a link tree. I didn't even know what a link tree was. I was like, what's a link tree? Just to let you know how far behind I am of the times. Can you show me what's the difference with the two, please? Jamaican Diva, what two differences did you want to see? I don't know what you're speaking of. I must have missed what you're talking about. The scripture and the apocrypha. So the difference is, so the scripture, the book, the scripture, the difference between the scriptures is that it only has 66 books in it, whereas the apocrypha has what is not considered 66. It has everything else, where it has like the Book of Enoch. So there's a few different ones. You can get the complete one, even though they call them complete. This one is not complete. This is not the complete apocrypha. Okay. But just to show you what's in the table of contents. So it has what they call Universal Deuterocanon, and it has Tobit, Judith, Wisdom, Sirach, Baruch, First and Second Maccabees, and then they have the Eastern Orthodox, which has First Esdras, Third Maccabees, Fourth Maccabees, Prayer of Manasseh, and then you have the Ethiopian Orthodox, where you get the Second Esdras, the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and then you have the Jewish legend, Jasher, and then you have the additions to the Bible, Esther, Psalms 151, because you know normally there's only 150 Psalms, but here you have an extra one. And then you have Daniel, which is the Bell and the Dragon, or or is it Susanna, Bell and the Dragon, or something like that. So that's what this one is, okay? And then of course I showed you the Ethiopian, the 88 books of the Ethiopian, which has the canon plus some of the ones that I just read off to you. and they have 88 in this one. So let me show you the contents of this one. All right. Some of these, it's like I have more than one book, just different translations, and most of them translate identical. But here you have what you know as the Old Testament, the Tanakh. Okay, it has, as you'll see here, without having all of this in front of it, it's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth. You know, it goes down. This is the 38 books of what you know as the Old Testament. And then it adds this addition of Esther. Okay. It also has the book of Judith, Tobit, and then it has Esdras, and then the second book of Esdras. Okay. You have the book of Jubilees, the little, what they call the little Genesis, the book of Enoch, the second book of Enoch. And then you have the book of Ezra. Oh no, that's all part of the original. And then down here, of course, you have the Psalms 151 that I told you about. And then you have Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach. All of this you would know about, except for Baruch. This is an addition. And then for Baruch is also an addition. Then you have the Song of the Three Set-Apart Children, which is also the Prayer of Azariah, the History of Susanna, and this is the one, and then you have the Bell and the Dragon. This would be part of Daniel. All of this is already part of the canon, all of this. And then we start with the New Testament, the 27 books. All of this is the same until you get to First Epistle of Clement to the Corinthians. This is an extra book. So that's in the book of what we call the Ethiopian Bible. Okay. And then we also have, let me bring this back up. We have a larger one here called the 100 book, Complete Apocrypha. All right. So this one's a lot larger than the other one that I showed you. This one here, this one only has like, I can't remember how many books, but this one has 100. This one I think has 54, or not even 54. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So this one has 18 books in it, as opposed to this one having 100. And by the same publisher. Okay. And here you see the different ones here. Let me bring this down. This one has a lot more information in it. I haven't been through all of these. So it has all of this here. Okay. I'm not going to name all of them. Some of them are, like I said, I have them in other books. So it's redundant for me, but still, it's great to have them. And then you have all of these here. Then you have all of this. Okay. Whole lot of information. Yeah. And again, all of this you need to test. Okay. Don't just because it's in a binder of a binding called the apocrypha makes it true. It's not. Okay. Some of these are not true. They're pseudographa or false writings. Okay. So you have to do your due diligence and read it and see if it lines up with what is called the scriptures. Okay, the Old Testament. If it doesn't line up with it, cast it to the side. Like first and second book of Adam and Eve. That thing is fable. I mean, nice reading, you know. Kind of like reading a fictional story, because it's not nonfiction. And then I also have this one here. This one has 150, so this has got some extra stuff that the other one doesn't have. Okay. And again, it does have a lot of the same stuff. Again, like I say, it's kind of redundant with some of the stuff that I have, but this one here has, let's see, where do we start here? Okay, from the very beginning. So again, it has all of these. Some of these you've seen on the other ones. Okay. Has a lot of different books. So this is the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, which is an interesting read. I'm just starting to get to those. And you have all of these here. So this, these here, first, second, and third, these are Maccabees. They just pronounce it different, Maccabean. Sibylline oracles, and they have, what is this here? 14 books, and then fragments. Apocalypse of Abraham, Apocalypse of Zephaniah, Apocalypse of Masha, fragments of Zadokite work, and then you have the new Apocrypha, what you would call the New Testament. So remember, the other one had First Clement of Alexandria. This one has the second and the third. It also has the Apostles' Creed in here, the Nicene Creed. So all of this starts to get into a lot of Christendom stuff. And a lot of this, I can tell you, doesn't even line up with the truth. A lot of these early church fathers are Christians. And so everything that they're telling you is through the eyes and the lens of Christianity, which you're going to find that it goes against what we understand. But nonetheless, it's great to have it for argumentative purposes and to defend the truth. And so you have all of these here. Like, I've never heard of Vienna and Lyons. I haven't read it yet. So I'm not going to put too much weight into a lot of these things. Epistle of Pontius Pilate. Shepherd of Hermas, I got a smaller version of this by itself. I've read that. That is biblical. Then we get into all of this here. And so this even gets into some of the Gnostic. And I don't know if you guys know about the Gnostic teachings, but they're heretical teachings. Okay. Gnostic is another word which comes from the Greek gnosis, or for knowledge. And if you read a lot of their stuff, you're going to find, like, they say that the Messiah never died, that Judas took his place on the tree, which is very similar to the Quran. This is probably where some of it entered into the Quran readings, or writings, I should say, because of Gnostic teachings. And you get into all of this stuff. So again, a lot of this stuff, you're going to have to take it with a little grain of salt. You're going to have to look into it and be careful when you read some of this stuff, because it will slant and twist your ideology. This is why it's very dangerous to read something without having a firm foundation in the truth already. So me personally, I would never tell somebody to read a lot of this stuff. I would tell them to stick with the 66 books, and also with the Apocryphas. When they're ready to graduate, they can start reading Jubilees. They can start reading the Book of Enoch. They can start reading even Jasher, even though a lot of that has been changed. Some of that was not from the original Jasher that we're told about in Chronicles, that there is a book called Yashar. The one that we have been given, either it has been changed or it is not the original Yashar. Okay, some great information in there. You know, some of it is legendary stuff. It's legends. Okay, but you still have to be careful. Okay. So all of this stuff, you just have to look into it before you just say, oh yeah, well, this said this and this, and this said this and this. No, you gotta test it. Just don't believe it because it's in a binding. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much my collection, even though I have some other stuff here. I do have like an interlinear and all this stuff. So just to show you some of the stuff I have above my head here. So the Strongs, the Israel Bible, there's my interlinear. I just showed you that one. This dark binding here, this is the large print of the scriptures, TS 2009, which is a larger version of this. Has everything the same, it's just a larger font. This here, this guy named Rav Shaul, I don't agree with a lot of his stuff, but he does understand that Christianity is the beast system. Come out of her, my people. That's another one. The oneness of God. This is when I was first getting into the truth. And that is an apostolic teaching. Like, what's that guy's name? Geno Jennings. This is some of the stuff that he believes in. The signature of God, the handwriting of God, the signature of God. These by Grant Jeffries has to do with the Bible code and how there is a code in the Old Testament, and only in the Old Testament, and it only works in the original Hebrew. It doesn't work in Greek. It doesn't work in English. It doesn't work in Latin. It doesn't work in any other language but Hebrew. That is a fascinating study in itself. Dead Sea Scrolls right there. Let me get that to focus in. Why is that not focusing? Huh. That's weird. Okay, and then I showed you that one there, the big red one there, and then I showed you this big bad boy here. I shouldn't say bad boy, but this great boy. And that'd be about it. That's all the stuff that I have here. And then I do have some other extra stuff that I have in my library, but they're not in front of me. They're behind me in another shelf there, but that's why they're over there, because they're not something that I really study. Okay. So that's why your Aki has learned what he's learned and share what I share. And I've allowed Abba Yahuah to walk me through a lot of this stuff, and I'm still learning. And he's cleaning up things out of me that I still have some extra ways that he's revealing to me that I'm trying to take out. And so, yeah. Jasher is not 100% Nazareth, no. One of the main things is about how Cain died. There's discrepancies in the book of Jasher as opposed to what we're told in, I believe it's Jubilees, or was it Enoch? I can't quite remember right now. But yes, they differ. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. Let's go to it for a little bit, Aki Jim. What are we talking about, Aki Emmanuel? Go to what? Can you open up the Dead Sea Scroll so I can see if I have the same? Oh, Book of Jasher. Oh, yes. Okay. First, let me show. This is the Dead Sea Scroll that I use here. If it says that it has been translated by Giza Vermes, it's going to be word for word the same. Okay. Okay, the Book of Yashar. Let me open that up here, and the one that's easier for me to move around on. Is there a particular spot that you want me to read, Aki? Because, you know, Jasher is a very big book. Where would you like me to start? What is my doggies barking about? Is somebody walking their dog? Is somebody walking their dog? It's almost time for the Palal. About Cain and David in there. Oh, okay. I mean, that'd be straight at verse 1. I mean, chapter 1, excuse me. Manas, you're asking, hey, Aki, Jimmy, we're supposed to celebrate the Sabbath on the 22nd. On the 22nd? Do we only celebrate Sabbath on the 23rd? Because the 22nd is the last Sabbath. I'm not following what you're saying by the 22nd being the last Sabbath. The last Sabbath of the year is the 28th day on the 12th month. Oh, is that what it is, Shoshana? Is that where he's coming from? Because I'm so lost with what he's talking about. Okay, Aki Emmanuel, where is it that you want me to read from? I guess we can, let's go to chapter 2. Chapter 2 of the book of Jasher. Let's read this here. And it reads, and let me keep track of the time because it's almost time to Palah. Okay, and it was in the 130th year of the life of Adam upon the Arats that he again knew Yahuah, his Ashah, and she conceived and bore a bane in his likeness and in his image. And she called his Sham Sat, saying, because Yahuah Elohim has appointed me another seed in place of Abal, for Cain has slain him. And Sat lived 105 years, and he begot a bane. And Sat called the Sham of his bane Anosh, saying, because in that time the Banim of Adam's kind began to multiply and to afflict their beings and hearts by transgressing and rebelling against Yahuah Elohim. And it was in the days of Anosh that the sons of Adam continued to rebel and transgress against Yahuah Elohim to increase the anger of Yahuah against the sons of Adam. And the sons of Adam went and they served other mighty ones, and they forgot Yahuah, who had created them in the Arats. And in those days the sons of Adam made images of brass and iron and wood and stone, and they bowed down and served them. And every person made his own deity, and they bowed down to them. And the sons of Adam forsook Yahuah all the days of Anosh and his children, and the anger of Yahuah was kindled on account of their works and the abominations that they did on the Arats. And Yahuah caused the waters of the rivers of Gihon and overwhelmed them, and he destroyed and consumed them, and he destroyed the third part of the Arats. Notwithstanding this, the sons of Adam did not turn from their evil ways, or they didn't repent from their evil ways, and their hands were yet extended to do evil in the sight of Yahuah. And in those days there was neither sowing nor reaping in the Arats, and there was no food for the sons of Adam, and the famine was very great in those days. And the seed which they sowed, in those days in the ground became thorns, thistles, and briars. For the days of Adam was this declaration concerning the Arats of the curse of Yahuah Elohim, that he cursed the Arats on account of the transgression that Adam transgressed before Yahuah. And it was when Adam's kind continued to rebel and transgress against Yahuah Elohim and to corrupt their ways that the Arats also became corrupt. And Anosh lived 90 years, and he begot Cainan. And Cainan grew up, and he was about 40 years old, and he became wise and had knowledge and skill in all wisdom, and he reigned over the sons of Adam. And he led the sons of Adam to wisdom and knowledge, for Cainan was a very wise person and had understanding in all wisdom, and that his wisdom he ruled over Rakot and demons. And Cainan knew by his wisdom that Yahuah Elohim would destroy the sons of Adam for having transgressed upon the Arats, and that Yahuah would in the latter days bring upon them the waters of the flood. And in those days Cainan wrote upon the tablets of stone what was to take place in time to come, and he put them in his treasures. And Cainan reigned over the whole Arats, and he turned some of the sons of Adam to the service of Yahuah Elohim. And when Cainan was 70 years old, he begot 3 sons and 2 daughters. And these are the names of the children of Cainan. The name of the firstborn, Mahalal, the second, Anan, and the third, Marad, and their sisters, Adah and Zala. These are the 5 children of Cainan, and were born to him. And Lamach, the son of Methuselah, became related to Cainan by marriage, and he took his 2 daughters for his wives. And Adah conceived and bore a son to Lamach, and she called his name Yabal. And she began she again conceived and bore a son, Abain, and called his name Yubal. So you have Yabal and Yubal. And Zala, her sister, was barren in those days and had no offspring. For in those days the sons of Adam began to transgress against Yahuah Elohim, and to transgress the commandments that he had commanded to Adam, and to be fruitful and multiply on the earths. And some of the sons of Adam caused their wives to drink a draught that would render them barren. So they drank a drink that caused them to be barren, in order that they might retain their figures, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade. Ooh, sounds like a whole bunch of stuff that's going on today. And when the sons of Adam caused some of their wives to drink, Zillah drank with them, and the childbearing women appeared abominable in the sight of their husbands as widows, while their husbands lived, for to the barren ones only they were attached. And in the end of days and years, when Zillah became old, Yahuah opened up her womb, and she conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Tubal Cain, saying, after I have withered away, I have obtained him from the Almighty, Al Shaddai, Yahuah Elohim. And she convinced again and bore a daughter, and she called her name Naamah. For she said, after I had withered away, have I obtained pleasure and delight. And Lamech was old and advanced in years, and his eyes were dim, that he could not see. And Tubal Cain, his son, was leading him. And it was one day that Lamech went into the field. Now here we go. This is the story about how Cain was unalived. Okay, this is different. This is a different account. But anyways, let's continue. Was leading him. It was one day that Lamech went into the field, and Tubal Cain, his son, was with him. And while they were walking in the field, Cain, the son of Adam, advanced towards them. So he was charging towards them. For Lamech was very old and could not see much. And Tubal Cain, his son, was very young. And Tubal Cain told his father to draw his bow, and with the arrows he smote Cain, who was yet afar off, and he slew him, for he appeared to be an animal. And the arrows entered into Cain's body, although he was distant from them, and he fell to the ground, and he was unalived. And Yahuah paid back Cain's evil according to his wickedness, what he has done to his brother Abal, according to the word of Yahuah that he had spoken. And it came to pass, when Cain had been unalived, that Lamech and Tubal went to see the animal that they had slain, and they saw, and behold, Cain, their grandfather, was fallen dead upon the earths. And Lamech was very much grieved at having done this, and in clapping his hands together, he struck his son and caused his death. So can you imagine for a second? He's over here like, he's so angry. He's like, no, I didn't just do this. And he must have just turned and just smacked you-know-what out of his son. Like, you did this to me. You caused me to do this. He hit him or slapped him so hard, he literally unalived him. And the wives of Lamech heard what Lamech had done, and they sought to unalive him. So now his wives want to kill him. So it goes on and says, and the wives, we're going to check that out now here in a second, Aki. And the wives of Lamech hated him from that day, because he slew Cain and Tubal Cain. And the wives of Lamech separated from him, and would not hearken to him in those days. And Lamech came to his wives, and he pressed them to listen to him about this matter. And he said to his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, O wives of Lamech. Attend to my words. For now you have imagined and said that I have slew a man with my wounds, and a child with my stripes, for their having done no violence. But surely know that I am old and gray-headed, and that my eyes are heavy through age. And I did this thing unknowingly. So he didn't know what he had actually did. And the wives of Lamech listened to him in this matter, and they returned to him with advice of their father Adam. But they bore no children to him, from that time, knowing that Yahuwah's anger was increasing in those days against the sons of Adam, to destroy them with the waters of the flood of their evil doings. And Mahalal and the son of Canaim lived 65 years, and he begot Yared. And Yared lived 62 years, and he begot Kanak, or Enoch. Okay, so here we see in Jasher chapter 2 how it talks about how Cain was unalived by Lamech. Okay? Yeah, he smacked him. He smacked him well. Okay. And then, so here, Aki Manuel, so let's go to 2 Samuel 1:18 and 10. Okay, so now, this was the same thing that I was doing too, Aki Emmanuel. So just to give you a little clarification, let's go to 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 18. Is that right? Oh, I'm not in 2 Samuel. I'm in 1 Samuel. Give me a second. Let's go. Bat Shamuel 1:18. Okay, so here we see where it mentions the book of Yashar. And ordered the bow to be taught to the children of Yehuda. See, it is written in the book of Yashar. So this is what I was saying earlier. The book of Yashar that is being mentioned here in 2 Samuel is not the book that we're reading from. And if it is, they changed things with the lying pens of the scribe. Because that passage that we just read, how Cain was unalived, is not the way that Cain was unalived, as we're told that his house fell on him because he had unalived his brother with a stone. The stones of his house unalived him. So just like it says, as a man does to someone else, he is to die the same way. And so we know for this reason, the book of Jasher, and it might just be that portion of the book of Jasher that was wronged or was changed. Okay. But again, I don't know if it was a lying pens of the scribes that caused the changing of the book of Jasher, so that we don't know if this is the actual book that is mentioned here in 2 Samuel as the book of Yashar, or if this is the actual book and they changed a few things, or if this isn't the book at all and they gave it the same name. And this is why there's a discrepancy about all of this. Yes, also about Asu and Nimrod is another one, yes. So there's a lot of problems with the book of Yashar, but that's just one of them. And that's why I let people know, like, look, from my reading of this book, other people can say it's legit, but I see discrepancies in the book of Yashar, unlike some of the other books that I read where it lines up with the Tanakh. Canaan and Cain are two different people. Of course, you know Cain or Cain and Canaan. Canaan is the son of Set or Sat. Abraham and his father's temple of idols and how it was destroyed. Yep, that's another one. Yes. But there's some fascinating reading in the book of Yashar. I'll definitely say that. Let's go ahead and Palah. It's time for the Arab Palah. Heavenly Abba Yahuwah, we come before you at this time of the Arab Palah on this Shabbat. As we see the daylight going away from us, O Abba, we want to thank you, Tuda Ata Abba Yahuwah, for this day, for this Yaum, allowing us to come together as the Mishpachah, as your Kadashim, the Talmudim, those who are being taught, those who are being guided by your Ruach HaKadosh. Abba, we continue to ask that you help us to guard our minds, to be careful of what we speak and what we share with one another on this Yom, not doing our own pleasures, not speaking our own words, not doing those things that pleases us. But in all our ways, may we continue to acknowledge you and to do what you have called us to do so that you may direct our path. Abba, we ask that you would continue to look after our Akis and our Kodis and their families. Abba, may your desire be done upon this earth as it is in the Shamaim. Continue to prepare us, your people, O Abba, for those things that are about to come upon the Surats. May we not be fearful. May we not be afraid. May we be courageous. May we continue to stand bold as a lion. May we stand 10 toes down on the truth. Because you and you alone, O Abba, you are true and your words are true. Help us to do your will and not our own. All these things we ask in the mighty name of your Ben Yahushua HaMashiach on this Yaum, on this Shabbat. Hallelujah, Yahuah, Amat. All right. What else we got, Chia? What else we got, Chia? We are about done for today. We are coming up on 7 o'clock here on the West Coast. I am trying to limit my time to redeem the time. And I have not, well, I did eat a little bit, but I do need to eat. Let's see, Khan Aki, Kane, I think, misunderstanding of the conversation above on my part. My apologies. No worries. Um, 6716, you say you are new here. I enjoyed the earlier live. Well, we appreciate you being part of the group here today with us. And all of you for that matter. It's been a beautiful, beautiful time together. But we'll stick around a little bit more. We'll let it go a little longer. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yes, Shepherd, I will be eating here very soon. Yes, Aki Emmanuel. Can we see your fur babies before you go? Yeah, I would have to take you guys downstairs with me. Carmen, we will have to do that. I've been kind of reluctant to do that lately because one, I would have to be on YouTube, TikTok. And I think we got enough music out there now for people to do that, or are we just wanting to do that just because we do it together? Robin, I don't know, Aki. I'm waiting to hear from our Aki Yakub and Aki Louise. I want them to kind of put it together and head it up so we can do the Zoom call together. If anything, I would like to try to start the first one here coming up. I got so much on my plate already. To add another thing to it is really I think I would be kind of cheating you guys without giving all of myself because I'm already kind of stretched thin already. But I would like for one of our Akis to head that up. And like I said, I think Yakub, Jacob, and Louise are supposed to get together and let me know when we're going to do that. Because again, I got so much on my plate already, and between this and work and my husband duties, I got a honey-do list, and then my doggies, and then my extended family. It's just it is a lot. It is a lot, and I want to give my all when I'm doing stuff like that. So I think I want to try to delegate some of that stuff out to other people, kind of like how Jethro told Masha, you can't take upon all this stuff on yourself, man. You got to give this to some others. That's just too much. You're trying to do too much. Aki Emmanuel, you silly. Honeydew equals honey dip. Yes. I spoke to Aki Yakub earlier and I will give you a call to. Okay, great, Aki Louise. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That would be wonderful, Aki Louise. Yes. That's what we got to do. Whenever we were picky as kids, my mom said, then don't eat. I know, right? Okay, so here's the thing. Any of you who are young parents, you need to take control of your children and what they are eating. Okay? Don't allow them to tell you what they are and not going to eat. You're setting yourself up for them to be rebellious by doing that. Okay? We have to do this according to the way Yahuah has taught us. He doesn't say, "Oh, you you don't want to eat lamb?" No, because I want to eat pork. Okay, eat pork. No, he tells us you are not to eat this. Okay? We got to be careful how we're allowing these kids to run. They're running over us. Just like it says in the book of Yashayahu and Isaiah that your children rule over you. That's what's happening. They're running the house right now. Kids are running the house. Don't get rid of Be Real V4D. Be Real. When you say freedom in Christ Jesus, what are you saying and why did you say that? As you might be able to tell, we don't use the word Christ in here and we don't call him Jesus, but I just wanted to know, Be Real, where you were coming from when you said we have freedom in Christ Jesus. People say that all the time, but I want to know what is your definition of freedom here, if you care to share. Knowing the truth. Okay. Yes, if you know the truth, then the truth shall set you free. So let me ask you, Be Real. Um, you sound like you're a Christian, so do you follow the dietary laws by any chance? Or no? Do you think the freedom in Christ Jesus allows you to eat whatever you want to eat, long as you bless it? The truth you know sets you free. Yes, right? Yes, we agree with that. Be real. When you know the truth does set you free, and whom the Son has set free is free indeed. So I guess what I'm asking you is, does that freedom also account to you able to eat whatever you want? 3.1 million children starved to death 1 year. Okay, so I think if what I was feeling from why you had came up and said what you said was because you're pretty much saying that if you know what the truth is, then you're free to eat whatever you want to eat. Is that the reason why you said what you said? The starving children don't have to eat things that are against scripture. Okay. So you bring up starving children won't last here. And when you say won't last here, won't last where? Akis and Akodis, I would like to remind you all again, let us make sure we are careful with our words on Shabbat today. I know we like to have fun and everything, but we need to let our words, let us not say our own words. Let's pick what Yahusha wants us to share with others. Yes? Most are not interested in live aid. Okay, be real. I'm not quite sure where you're going with your information, but okay. Well, we're not Christians here. And we know that everything that is put into our mouth is not considered food. The problem with Christianity is that they've turned everything into food. As long as it's edible, they say you can eat it. Okay? It actually comes back down to obedience. Okay? Obedience is better than sacrifice. And the Creator wants us to be obedient. But Christianity, because they don't know the truth, they think they know the truth, but they have gone against the teachings of Yahuah, the Creator. All right. Anybody else has anything to say? Anything to share? This is so true, Aki Jimmy. Yes. No Christians, no Jews. We follow the law, statutes, and commands of our only true Yahuah, Yahuah, our Abba. Yes, exactly. So is this a Hebrew Israelite channel? I guess you can say that, but we're not a Hebrew Israelite that says that Gentiles cannot be a part of Hebrew and cannot be Israelite. They might not be Hebrew in the sense of DNA wise, but they can become an Israelite through adoption. Mr. Kane, should we fast before Pesach? No, that is not giving as a prerequisite or a requirement to do so. That would be something that a person would do on their own. Your tone is all wrong. One of my favorite actors back in the day when I used to watch movies, Christopher Walken. Your tone is wrong. As I like to say to a lot of people, be real. You know, as you just said that right there, that God is grace. He's also a mighty one of vengeance. Okay. But again, if you think that my tone is off now, you wouldn't want to hear me when I'm really going down Christians' throats about how Christianity is the beast system. Maybe that might run you off. Do you know that the cross is the image of the beast? Do you know that the name of Jesus is the name of the false Messiah? Did you know that? Natsarim Amani is the mighty one of Trinity. He is not a Trinity. There is only one mighty one. Only one. Be real, our Messiah's name isn't Jesus. That is a Greco-Roman construct, okay? Nobody in first century Palestine was walking around calling him Jesus. In fact, the name Jesus does not mean that I am your Savior. That's what Yahusha means. Yahusha means I am is salvation. So if you want to hang your salvation on a false name, just like the Messiah says, I have come in my Father's name and you don't accept me, be real. But if another comes in his own name, Jesus, you'll accept him. And rightfully so, you have accepted him because you have come into a room, instead of asking questions, you want to try to push your fake pagan religion called Christianity down people's throats that came out of Christianity. You see, our eyes have been open. So if you don't like my tone now, like I said, you're not going to like the tone of our Father when you have to stand before him, when he says that you are going to bow. Every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Yahusha, not Jesus, Yahusha is Yahuah, to the esteem of the Father. Shine the light and the darkness leaves. Well, if you don't have the light, you can't get the darkness to leave. You're in darkness, my friend. It doesn't matter if you like my tone is getting better or not, be real. Okay. Sky trip. See, this is when you know that you haven't studied. You say Jesus is just a translation, not that I believe anything of this crap. So, first of all, sky trip. Jesus is a Greek name. Okay. The Messiah, just like in everything that we read, if you understand Hebrew, and you don't have to be a scholar in Hebrew to understand that Hebrew words have meaning. Unlike the way we speak English, where we just call people because we like the way it sounds, or by tradition, we call our children after our grandparents or our father or our mother, the Messiah came down with strict words, and these words were to be fulfilled. He says he came in his Father's name, but again, most people can't hear these words because they're not of him. This is why you don't understand my speech. But if you are truly wanting to know the truth, we're more than happy to share it with you. But if you're coming in here to just troll and to speak your own mind, I wouldn't walk into your house and just open your door and be like, hey, listen, you need to listen to me. You'd be like, well, I don't care. This is your house. I'm going to tell you like it is, right? Well, it's the same thing coming into this room right now in this channel. If you want to share, we'll listen to you. But if you're coming in here to say what you feel with your own opinion, you can find yourself walking right out the door. We don't have time for that in here, especially not on this day. This is our Sabbath today, okay? Thank you. We appreciate you, Sky. You can keep it moving. We hope to see you in the hereafter when everything is well. We hope you're on the right side, seriously. Shabath Yahuah, you say Shabbat is on a Saturday ? No, it's not. Shabbat can fall on a Saturday, but not every Saturday is a Shabbat. What do I mean by that? Well, you would have to know the true calendar to know what I'm talking about. So like Shabat. So Shabbat, as we've been told, right? And I don't know how long you've been in the truth, but like when I first started out, like most of us, when we come out of Christianity, we usually get into Hebrew roots movement, right? And then when we get into the Hebrew roots movement, that's just a step out of Christianity, and we're kind of getting back to our roots, hence the Hebrew roots movement. And what they do is they're looking at the people who've been calling themselves Jews, right? And these Jewish people are saying, yes, Shabbat is from Friday evening to Saturday evening. And so we start following their ways. And so when we follow their ways, without looking into it, we're just being led by blind guides. Well, if you look into the word, the Sabbath starts at sunrise. Okay, it's not in the evening. It starts at sunrise and it ends the very next day at sunrise. So it's from morning to morning, not evening to evening. That's number one. Number two, what we know as Saturn's Day, there's a reason why these Jewish people want to worship on Saturn's Day, because they're worshipers of Saturn. Okay, and the worshipers of Saturn are worshiping Satan. Satan has given us layers and layers of deception. So just when you think you're coming out of Sunday worship and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to get into Sabbath worship, worship him on Sabbath. And then we find out that that's even wrong. Okay, now this is why I'm talking about he puts a lie on top of a lie, a deception on top of the deception. So how do we know when the true Sabbath is? Well, Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 tells us this is the reason why he has created the sun, moon, and the stars. Specifically, the sun in the book of Jubilees, chapter 2, verse 9, it says there that Yahuah has appointed the sun to be a great sign upon the earth for days and for years and for months and for Sabbaths and for feast days. Okay, so what we're being told there is our Sabbath somehow, some way has to be connected to the sun, the sun in the sky. If I ask you this question, how is our Saturday that we know as Saturday, that was given to us, by the way, by the Catholics, how is Saturday connected to the sun? Would you know how to tell us how it's connected to the sun? I'm going to save you the trouble. You won't be able to. You know why? Because it's a construct by Rome that has given us this 7-day week. Now, we see the number 7 and we equate it to Genesis and we say, see, the Catholic Church is following the 7-day weekly cycle. No, they're not. They've created their own 7-day weekly cycle. Yeah, it's a woe for real. Okay. And so we've come to understand by the favor of our Creator that he's opened our eyes to this true information. So let me show you, because it sounds like you have an ear to hear and not one who's combative. So I don't mind sharing with somebody who wants to learn. So let me show you this, Che. Or is it Shabat? Is it Shabat or Chabat? I want to make sure I'm saying your name correctly. Is it Shabat or Chabat? Shybat. Okay, Shybat. My name is Cheyenne. Okay, let me just say Cheyenne. That'd be easier for me. Okay, so Cheyenne, let me show you this here. And this is in the book. Do you have you ever read the book of Jubilees? Do you feel that it is something that's legitimate, that it's real? Yes, I know Bat means daughter. Yes. I appreciate you sharing that. Mhm. Oh, you do? Okay, so great. So if you subscribe that Jubilees, Yobalim or Yubalim is a correct book, which I do believe as well, let me take you here to Jubilees chapter 2, verse 8 and 9. And on the 4th day, he, Yahuah, created the sun, the moon, and the stars, and set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon all the arats, all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness. Now notice verse 9, Cheyenne. And Alua Elohim appointed the sun to be a great sign on the arats for days, that's our weekdays, for Shabbats, okay? You can't find the Sabbath unless you know how to read the sun. For months, so the moon has nothing to do with the months. The sun has to tell you when the months begin and when it ends. For feast days or Moadim, our appointed times, the sun has to do with that. And then for the years, and for the Sabbath of years, the 7-year periods, and the Jubilees are the 50-year periods, and also the seasons of the year are spring, summer, fall, and winter. Now, knowing this is how we find when the first day of the year is. now I'm going to take you to the Dead Sea Scrolls. You've heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls, Cheyenne? Here's the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is the one that I read from. Okay. I love this, and yes, I have. Okay, great, beautiful. So now let me show you, because again, we must allow the word to speak. You know, everybody has opinions, everybody has their understandings, but I just want to show you the word so you can see it for yourself. I'm not adding anything to it. I don't want to dilute it, just like it says that we're not to do. We're not to add nor to take away. Okay, so let me show you here. The Qumran community, this is what they understood. And there is a lot of evidence that John the Baptist and his disciples were this community over there in the Dead Sea area, which is right by the Jordan River. So this is fragment number 4Q400, okay? And it says here, to the master song of the Holocaust of the first Sabbath on the what? 4th of the first month. Now, if you don't know what we're reading here, is telling us how to find the first Sabbath of the year. The first Sabbath of the year is going to be on the 4th of the first month. So let me show you our calendar. Kadash 1. Okay, Kadash 1, month 1. The first day of the year is the spring equinox. This is when we have a straight line shadow using a sundial, okay? This is what we have been told our ancestors used sundials until modern inventions of a clock and a watch and, you know, our personal devices and stuff. But this is what they would use to mark out the days, the hours of the days. Well, twice a year, the earth, there's a shadow from the sun as the sun literally crosses the sky in a straight line. All the other days, there's a bow in the way that the sun moves across the sky. Okay, well, remember what we just read here in the Dead Sea Scrolls, number 400. It said here about the first Sabbath being on the 4th day of the first month. So here's the first day of the year. This is the first month. Here's the 4th day. This is the first Sabbath of the year. So from the spring equinox, Cheyenne, which is going to happen on March 20th this year, 3 days later is your first Shabbat. This year, the Shabbat is going to fall on a Monday, on a pagan day called Monday. So the next 52 Mondays of the year until the next spring equinox is going to be our Shabbat before Abba Yahuah. And when we do it this way, Cheyenne, we are lining up with his appointed times. And did you know that the angels were keeping Shabbat and they're still keeping Shabbat in the heavenlies as we're speaking right now? And this is how we're to line up with him. This is one of the last things that he wanted us to understand before the Great Tribulation begins, because we're getting ready to see some serious things. And you wouldn't know this information. You wouldn't know how to continue to keep the 4th commandment, knowing that you believe in Yahuah, because I see it in your name. Then you know that we're to keep the commandments. And if we're to keep the commandments, and the 4th commandment being the 4th commandment, then we need to understand why it is that we're to keep this. You see, Yahuah could have made the Shabbat the 2nd commandment. He could have made it the 5th commandment. He could have made it the 8th commandment. No, he made it the 4th commandment. Why the number 4? It's telling you a lot right here in this calendar. Again, when was the sun, moon, and the star created? They were created on Yaum 4, the 4th day. Well, what is the first Sabbath of the year? It's on the 4th day of the first month. In the book of Enoch, we're told in chapter 72, let me take you there. Chapter 72 of the book of Enoch, it says this, and remember I'm talking about the 4th, the number 4. And there goes the first, that great luminary named the sun, the Shamash. and his circumference is like the circumference of the heavens. And he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and so is guided that he comes to the appropriate portal. Listen to this, and shines in the face of the heaven. In this way, he rises in the first month. Notice that the first month in the great portal, that is the fourth. There we see a number 4 again. So why is the fourth commandment speaking about the Sabbath? You would think the Sabbath should be the seventh commandment, since the Sabbath has to do with the seventh day. But Yahuah is letting us know, to understand when the true Sabbath is, you need to understand when it starts. You need to understand where it began. You need to understand where it's coming from. It's coming from the first month of the fourth portal. And it's going to be the fourth day. It's going to be your first Shabbat of the year. Okay, and he's telling us through the fourth commandment, you are to remember the Sabbath. Okay, all of this is not by coincidence. It's amazing when you start to see these patterns, and we know that our Abba Yahuah works and deals with us with patterns. So this is what we use as a visual aid in keeping the calendar. Okay, my wife makes these, and I want to bring something up to all of us here. Most of you already know this, those of you who have been with me for quite some time. So here is the first month, first day, and I want you to see this, Cheyenne. So every gold bead on this calendar bead has to do with the Sabbath. There's 52 gold beads a year, hence 52 Sabbaths. This is the spring equinox. This is the first day of the year, but it's the fourth day of the week. Why fourth day of the week? Because again, the sun, moon, and the stars, the luminaries, were created on day 4. So when Yahuah created and placed the sun, moon, and the stars in the sky, he set it in its arrangement, and it was a spring equinox that it occurred on the fourth day. Okay, that is where he says in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, he created the greater light and the lesser light. These two lights and the stars, they are for what? They are for times and for seasons, for days and for years. Okay, so that day 4 is the beginning of us, how we are to track the days. The first 3 days, he was that light. When he said, let there be light, he was that light. This is why in the book of John, the gospel, as we call it, the Basora of Yohanan, John the immerser, he was not that light. He was paving the way. He was making straight the way of Yahuah. So he was preaching about the light that was to come. Who was the light? The Mashiach was the light. He says, I am the light of the world. Well, the fourth day, when those orbs were created in the sky, this began how we, Adam's kind, was to start marking our days, to number our days. 3 days later, on the fourth day, we have our first Shabbat. Now, you're going to notice this every time the season changes, which you have 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes. And those 2 solstices and equinoxes, they carry the same pattern as you're seeing here. Here's the spring equinox, 3 days later, Shabbat. Summer solstice, 3 days later, Shabbat on the fourth day of the fourth month. 7th month, fall equinox, 3 days later, you have a Shabbat. Okay? The winter solstice, right here, the 10th month. 3 days later, on the fourth day, Shabbat. That's not by coincidence. There's no way that's by coincidence. It's perfect. It is truly perfect. When you know the calendar, you'll see this pattern, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Yes, Roper, my wife, she makes that, and for a little nominal fee, we don't talk about it today because it being Shabbat today. But yes, if you want to, or if any of you are interested, just email me. Not today, please. tomorrow, because again, today is Shabbat. We don't do any commerce on Shabbat. My email is the same as the name of this channel, ambassadorsofyah@gmail.com. And you can just send me your request. I will send it over to my wife. She will make them. And at the same time, we already have some pre-made. Those are ready to go. And we'll send it to you. All right. We want everybody to have one. If you can't afford one, just let us know. We'll send it to you free of charge. It's a little more difficult when you're out of the country because of the postage. Some of these places, just to send it is like, $40 on top of what it costs to make and everything. So if you are truly one who can afford it, please let us know and we'll send it to you. If you can't afford it, let us know and we'll send it to you. We would like everyone to have one. And if you live in a place where we can't get it to you, there's instructional videos on how to make this online. I think my wife is going to make one here soon so people can see how she does it. But there's other people who are making this as well. Yes, we do send it to UK. Yes. Cheyenne, you said, I absolutely want one. Can you send the info with it too? Yes, I'm broke, single mom of 2 who got my vehicle repossessed recently. I am self-employed, mobile apps. Yes, no worries, no worries. All you have to do is just reach out to me. Like I said, not today. We won't do commerce things today, but reach out to me tomorrow and I will get it to my wife. Send over your address and make sure you give us your name, your address, appropriate address, and we'll get it to you. Okay. Yes, and if any of you live in Australia, our Aki Robin here, our brother Robin, he is going to be the one who will be our person out there because he's also making the calendar beads as well. And then we also have a Cody Della out in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. She's also making them as well. Okay, we have a lot of followers over there in Ohio. And so we come together every weekend. Well, I guess that'll be changing now because Shabbat will be on a MON day. But I will be coming on SUN day as well to capture the minds of our ex-gen brothers and sisters who are still caught up into the beast system. So the SUN days will be totally dedicated and devoted to them to open up their eyes because I truly believe that Yahuah wants us to go after the lost sheep. And this is our duty. This is what he wants for us to do, regardless of the backlash that we get from Christians, regardless of them talking bad about us following the commandments, regardless if they don't like his name and they cling on to the name of Jesus, all of that stuff. They cling on to their cross. They cling on to their holidays. They cling on to not wanting to keep the commandments, but still we out of love, we need to share the truth with them. Cheyenne, you got to know when to pick your battles, okay? If you've already shared with them, don't share anymore, okay? Don't share anymore. Why am I saying that? Because Yahuah is the one who is going to bring the increase. He'll either send someone or some type of a posting or something, someone or somehow or something Yahuah is going to use so that they will see, even if they don't come to become a believer, he's going to use that either for them or against them. It will be a witness, a testimony to them or against them. But since you are a single mom with 2 and you need your family's help, don't burn the bridges, okay? They already know what you believe in. You don't have to cram it down their throat. You don't have to push it in their face. Just like my side, same thing, my family, okay? I'm the only one in my family, okay? I'm not talking about my wife. I'm talking about my blood family that believes what I believe, Okay. This is why the Messiah, in his word, says that he will take one out of a clan, two out of a tribe. There's not too many of us. We are few and far in between. This is a very lonely walk. This is why we come together, where we can exhort and uplift and admonish one another to continue on. This is why we read in the book of Hebrews that we are not to forsake the assembly of believers as others have done, because we need this coming together to assemble. This is how we strengthen each other. You can't be that one little coal of fire by yourself. You have to be in a pile of other believers so that fire can ignite one another. And so this is why we come together here. This is why Yahuah has allowed us to have this platform, and not only on here, but also on TikTok, until he says, okay, my children are ready. They have been given the information. Now it's time for them to no longer use these devices, no longer have to hear one another, because now they're going to hear from me. And we're going to be taken through the Great Tribulation. And he's going to see us through the Great Tribulation. Some of us are going to be unalived through the Great Tribulation. But he says not to be afraid or fearful. Hold on one second, you all. I got to go. Well, I guess my wife is already coming in. I'll have to move it later. I have my vehicle in the way, so she can't get in. So she's going to park on the next to the driveway. Aki Emmanuel. Yes, you know what? We're gonna let us we're gonna come together on that, you and I, and we'll get into the book of Yashar with the Mishpachah. I want to show you all why I don't look at the book of Yashar as being credible, and that either it's been changed or that is not the actual book of Yashar, and it's been lost to history. But we'll definitely get into that, Aki. Let's see. Yes, it is getting late. I hear her closing the garage right now. So I've been on for a little over 6.5 hours so far today. And I want to thank you all again for the time that we were able to share with each other on this Shabbat. And I will be back on Pagan Day Tuesday for the sighting of the summer solstice. Summer solstice. Hey, dear.
Hi, baby.
For the sighting of the spring equinox is what I was trying to say. And so we will do this together. Again, I will be coming on here on YouTube early in the Bakor, early in the morning, just before the sun rises. So it'll probably be around 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 7 o'clock in the morning Mountain, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. Okay. And for those of you who are able to get a clear view of your eastern horizon all the way to your western horizon, I would suggest that you do the same. After all, just don't watch me do, but you need to do it as well. So you know how to do this. And I'm telling you, once you get it, you won't forget it. It's very easy. All right. Abba Yahuah wants his people to have this knowledge. There's a reason why this was that last piece of the puzzle that he needed his people to know. As we're finding out, people are now coming into the name. They're realizing that his name is not Lord and God, these pagan titles, these titles of Baal. And we're finding out that his name is not Jesus, nor the title Christ. He's revealed this to a particular generation. He says he always has a remnant. a remnant that has not bowed the knee to Baal. And if you know who Baal is, then you would know that you've been calling our master Baal by calling him Lord. Lord means Baal. Look it up in the Strongs. Hebrew number 1167. Look it up. You can put H1167 right into the Google search engine, and it'll come up. Baal. Hebrew for Lord. Okay? Let us stop calling him by these pagan names. In fact, he says in Hosea chapter 2, verses 15 and 16, that he is going to remove the names of the Baalim out of our mouths. That is all the names of the Baals. He's going to remove it. He's already starting it. And he's done it for many of us. He's opened our eyes again. In fact, let me show you a prophecy right in the book of Yobalim in Jubilees, chapter 20, I want to say 23, or is it 25? 23. Notice this right here. This is another one that has already started. Verse 26, chapter 23 of Jubilees, verse 26. And in those days, the children will begin to study the laws, the Torah, and to seek the commandments, and to return, tashub, repent, to the path of righteousness. You see, it was taken from us by Rome. Rome, who constructed Christianity, has been teaching the world for almost 2,000 years that you don't have to follow the commandments. You are no longer having to follow the law because their pagan Messiah named Jesus says that you don't have to do the law anymore. It's because he's done it for us. That's nowhere in Scripture. That's nowhere in the New Testament. That is a construct of Rome. But here it is. In these days, this is us. We're that children. We're studying the laws again. We're seeking the commandments again. And we're returning to the path of righteousness again. Now, this brings us to the calendar. That was the last piece of the puzzle that he had to restore to his people. And here we have it now. Not everyone sees it, but that's okay. Because if they're truly hungry for righteousness, Yahuah will reveal it to them. They'll see it for what it is. But if they don't have eyes to see, and they're being argumentative, and they're being hard-headed, and they don't want to listen to these things, then they're not going to see it because they don't want to see it. And so he's not going to give them eyes to understand. And so now we have, again, what has been missing for almost 2,000 years because it was taken from us. It was taken from us by Rome. And Yahuah has revealed it to his people again, right before he's about to crack that sky. And so this is why another prophecy, and then we're going to end it with this. This is why we know we're the generation. Romans chapter 11. Verse 25. Romans chapter 11, verse 25. For I do not wish you to be ignorant of this secret, brethren, lest you should be wise in your own estimation, in your own understanding, that hardening in part has come over Yasharal. Who is Yasharal? Well, it's not those Jewish people over there claiming to be Jews. Until the completeness or the fulfillment of the Gentiles, the nations, has come in. And so all Yasharal shall be saved, as it has been written, the deliverer, that is the Savior, shall come out of Zion. This is the second coming. And he shall turn away the wickedness from Jacob. That would be Yasharal. And this is my agreement with them when I take away their transgressions. That was the renewed agreement. That's what the Messiah came to do when he came down the first time. But the next time he comes, he's coming as our deliverer. He's coming down as that vengeful lion. He is the lion from the tribe of Yahudah. And so this was the other part that had to be fulfilled. I say then, chapter 11, verse 11, have they, the children of Yasharal, stumbled that they, the children of Yasharal, shall fall? Let it not be, but by their children of Yasharal's fall, salvation, deliverance has come to the nations, to the Gentiles, those who are not Yasharal, to provoke Israel, Yashralim, to jealousy. This is why you see the Hebrew Israelites, those who are wearing purple and gold, going around, marching around, prancing around with bullhorns, with jealousy in their heart, talking about how the YT man, the blonde hair, blue eye, is the devil, and he's going to get what he's got coming, and he's going to be licking the bottom of the soles of our feet. All of that is because he has provoked them to jealousy. Because why? Some of us, some of our people, they can't stand to see that our captors are going to get the same inheritance as us if they believe and give themselves over to the teachings and the doctrines of Yahuah. And this is exactly what is happening right now. Those people who have been calling themselves Jews and are not, you can hear, you don't have to hear it from me. Tucker Carlson is bringing it up. Candace Owens is bringing it up. Even before they did it, you had people like Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, who was bringing it up. Nick Cannon was bringing it up. I mean, there's a slew of people who knows this truth. But for certain people, especially those who are racist, prejudiced, Christians, Zionists, all of these people don't want the true Israelites' eyes to be open. But they can't stop what Yahuah is opening up, because he's the one who is opening up the eyes of the true Israelites. And so all Yasharal shall be saved, those who are seeking truth. Not those who don't seek truth that are Yasharal, because 2/3 of them are going to fall. 2/3 of them aren't going to make it. We're told this in the Old Testament, in the Tanakh. 2/3 shall be lost, but he'll bring one through the fire. That is through tribulation, through testing, through trials. And so this is the reason for Jacob's trouble. Hold on a second. We're about to see the times of Jacob's trouble. This is the Great Tribulation. And so all of this is not by coincidence that this is happening on top of the first seal being broken, COVID-19, back in 2019. On top of the second seal being broken in February of 2022, which is still going on to this day. And we're seeing that it's about to become a world war. We're about to see the destruction of Babylon and all those who are married to her and all those who have drunk from her wine, which is Christianity. Satan has been promoting the religion, the largest religion on the earth, called Christianity, for almost 2,000 years. And he's got so many of the people of the world believing that Jesus the Christ is the Messiah. This blonde-haired, blue-eyed image of Rome. They've given us a different name. They've given us an image. They've given us a new doctrine. They've given us a new calendar. They've given us new appointed times of holidays. They done changed everything. And this is why Yahuah, for the select few that he has chosen, they're going to understand this because his sheep hears his voice. But for the rest of you, the naysayers, the non-believers, those who are Christian through and through, who are worshiping that old rugged cross, and those of you who are in Islam, who are worshiping that old Kaaba stone, you, my friends, are on the wrong side of history, and you're going to find out on that day when you have to bow down and proclaim the name that is above all names. This is why Satan took away the name Yahusha and gave us a substitute called Jesus, Jesus, giving all homage to Zeus from the Greek pantheon. Well, that's going to do it for today, everyone. My name is Ak Jimmy, also known as Brother Jimmy. We are ambassadors of Yah. We do the weekend. And like I said, I will be coming back on here very soon. Tuesday to be exact. Pagan Day Tuesday. And hope that you guys will be able to join me on that day as we chart out the sun as it crosses the sky so that you and I can be sure that we're following the true calendar. This is the missing piece, family, Mishpachah. May Yahuah baruch you and keep you. May he continue to allow the countenance of his light to shine upon you and your Mishpachah, your family. And may we all be found doing his will. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah.
Ambassadors, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. Verses be thumping, shofars be blowing, beat be steady. Word power every hour, truth already. Blended deep secrets keep fools unsteady. We elevate till your fate be ready. No compromise. Open your eyes, see the light. Walk tall, stand strong with all your might. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. Compromise. Open your eyes, see the light. Walk tall, stand strong with all your might. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah.
Yep, we're bringing the fur babies right now.
Yeah.
There's Onyx. Where's the bad one? Where's the bad one? Oh, here she comes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Where you at, little Hazel? Hazelnut. 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 What's up, baby girl? What you got in your mouth? Give me that. Give me that. Oh, you just look at you. Look at you. Will you look at this? 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 What is you doing, baby girl? What's up, Onyx? What's up, Onyx?
Right, sheeps. Oh, oh, yes, she does.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, look at you. Look at you. Ow, that's my thumb. 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 Stop biting my clothes. What?
She's 22 pounds.
22 pounds.
From 7 pounds to 22
Right?
in a month.
All right. Well, we're going to let you all go. We'll see you on, what day? Yes, Pagan Tuesday. Shalom, Miss Prakash. Shalom.
Say shalom. Ow, ow, ow.
Ouch. She jumped all the way up to the phone.
Ouch.
All right, everyone. Shalom. Shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Please look at